This is the noise of Bramall Lane this Sunday, and almost a reverential pause from the referee there, Clinton Morrison. He couldn't start the game till that song had finished. Forget about your global audience. That song was more important right there.
It's a great song. He was enjoying it too much. He probably should have started it, but he couldn't. But it is a brilliant atmosphere, and it's a brilliant song as well.
Sheffield United wearing their red and white stripes, playing from left to right as we look down. Palace in the change strip, all in black. They, of course, brought in Gary Cahill from Chelsea this summer, but after keeping the clean sheet last weekend, it's the same back four for Roy Hodgson, the oldest coach ever in the Premier League, bearing down on his 72nd birthday. As an early attack for Crystal Palace here with Max Meyer out to Wilfried Zaha for the first time, ball at his feet. Crystal Palace's number 11, and Sheffield United, of course, they've done their homework on him. Immediately 3 players swarm around him and force him back to Patrick van Aanholt. Then Max Meyer, the German, into the midfield to Milivojevic, and Crystal Palace just trying to take away some of the giddy excitement that Sheffield United are creating. McGoldrick lunges in to try and win it back. MacArthur is strong though, and Palace give it back to Martin Kelly in defence. Little 1-2 with Joel Ward, and Palace have possession. Of course, big transfer exit this summer, Zaha's state so far, was Wan-Bissaka. I'm just wondering, Clinton, if you're Joel Ward, all the Palace fans and players go, oh dear, we're losing Wan-Bissaka. Joel Ward privately must have been clenched fists and say, yes, I'm going to get back in the team now at right back.
Yeah, definitely. But Joel Ward was a great pro, knowing personally, and yeah, he would have been willing on Aaron Wan-Bissaka to get that move, obviously, because he had came in last season and he had performed really, really well at times. He's a good, steady defender. What he won't give you, what Aaron Bissaka probably gives you, it won't get forward as much, but in a one-on-one situation, he can defend ever so well. So it's good to have him, and I'm glad they didn't go out and buy a right back, and they've gave him a chance this season.
Yeah, Joel Ward, who didn't play much of the Premier League last season, 12 appearances in all competitions, but with Aaron Wan-Bissaka now at Manchester United, he is in the team. We're not missing any action here. There's a Sheffield United player down injured and needing some early treatment. Early stages of 5 Live Premier League Sunday. Match of the day 2 this evening with Mark Chapman, Danny Murphy and Tim Cahill tonight, the former Everton man. And just this continued delay in play here. Jack O'Connell is the player who's down. I think he was setting off on one of those overlapping runs, and he is down near the halfway line. I think as a precaution they're just getting him to just stay lying down while extra medical attention comes out towards him. The England coach is here, Gareth Southgate, watching on in the stands. Gareth Southgate, who in the past when these teams were in the top flight a long time ago, once scored for Crystal Palace against Sheffield United.
Good knowledge, that. Very good.
I'm full of useless knowledge, me, Clinton, as you'll find
It's not
out.
looking good though. He hasn't moved, and he's been in that position for a long time. So I don't know if it was a head collision. Oh, he's just starting to get back to his feet now. You never like to see someone down for that long.
Yeah, I think he tried to get up, and the medical staff wisely just said, hang on, take a minute, take a moment here, make sure you're okay. They're just going through the routine sort of protocols, making him clench his fist and making him move his arms and just ensuring that there's no sort of concussion from a heavy fall. It looks like Jack O'Connell's going to be okay to continue.
Yeah, he won't want to do it. Yeah, it was a clash of heads. Yeah, with Benteke. He's gone into Benteke's head. So yeah, he won't want to come off in a big game like this.
That's a solid head, by the way. If you want to clash heads, I would say Harry Maguire is my number 1.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Christian Benteke is in the top 5.
Definitely, I'd agree with you there.
Jack O'Connell's okay, he can continue. That's the voice of Clinton Morrison watching this game with us here on 5 Live for the BBC. Milivojevic takes it down on his chest inside the centre circle. Palace give it forward to Benteke. A good ball from Townsend to encourage Joel Ward to come on the attack up on the right hand side, but decent lunge in midfield from John Fleck. He wins back possession, he wins a free kick. Oliver Norwood quick to get on with it, plays it out to the right wing. Baldock already up to the halfway line. Sheffield United urging their team to get on the attack. They've yet to get in around the Crystal Palace penalty area in the early stages here.
No, I think Palace have got good shape. What I will say is Palace have tweaked. Last season, a lot of the times Wilfried Zaha was coming from the left. I think they now actually are playing a 4-4-2. So Max Meyer will have a hard job today tracking back Baldock.
Palace Palace win it back in midfield. Wayward pass from Sheffield United. Long ball played by Milivojevic up towards Zaha. Benteke's in the penalty area, shoots on target, and it's saved by Henderson at his near post.
Yeah, it was good strength from Benteke. Done ever so well. He dispossessed O'Connell, and it was from a tight angle. The shot had no power. Comfortable save for Dean Henderson. But that's what you want to see Benteke in and around the box, causing a lot of problems.
Sheffield United have possession with Dean Henderson, who's rejoined for the campaign on loan. He was also here last season. He played all 46 league games for Sheffield United. He was the only Blades player to do so. Into Stevens, the Republic of Ireland international on the far side, back into Jack O'Connell, who's fully recovered from that knock to the head. And now John Egan has it at the heart of the defence and lays it offload to the Northern Ireland international Oliver Norwood, whose attempted ball forward comes off that previously mentioned skull of Christian Benteke, and it rebounds back to Henderson in the Sheffield United goal. 0-0 here. Crystal Palace actually finished last season really strongly. I don't think they've quite got the credit they deserve for it. They only lost one of their last 7 Premier League games of the campaign, and that was to Manchester City. And if you look at their points in the second half of the year, in 2019, Crystal Palace did so well, probably making up from a poor start to the season, but they really were clicking under Roy Hodgson in that second half of the campaign.
And I think that was kind of due to their away form. Their away form was fantastic. They were ever so well. At home, they needed to improve more. I don't think they're ruthless enough at home, but away from home, really good.
Last season, Crystal Palace's highest ever Premier League points total is a cross from the right-hand side from Baldock, is headed away, comes back into the penalty area, and Vicente Guaita, the Spaniard, is able to gather it. He's wearing all yellow. His Crystal Palace outfield teammates wearing all black with a little red trim. Sheffield United in their traditional red and white stripes, black shorts, red socks. Guaita plays it long up over the halfway line towards Benteke, beaten in the air by John Egan. Ball comes down onto the deck for Milivojevic, and he's got plenty of options ahead of him. Low to the feet of Andros Townsend. Then there's a foul committed on Zaha. It was John Lundstrom who went through the back of him, and the referee, David Coote, first game of the new season for this official, is reaching into his pocket for an early yellow card for Lundstrom. What do you make of that?
No, that's harsh. It's his first tackle. It was a bit naughty, but it was his first tackle. Zaha just got to the ball too quick. That's what I mean. Some referees, they don't. When you played the game, your mistiming of your tackle is going to be out. I think it's a bit harsh to book him after his first tackle. John
Lundstrom, who didn't play much last season, he only started 5 league games in the Championship. He fell out of favour with the arrival of Ollie Norwood, but he's in today, having also started last weekend. Milivojevic takes the free kick here for Crystal Palace into the penalty area, and Sheffield United headed out for a corner to Palace, right hand side as they attack, and a chance for those big men who'd come forward for the free kick to remain up there now, and Sheffield United need to be on high alert for this set piece.
Yeah, Palace do work good set pieces, and they got threats in there. Scott Dan, Martin Kelly, Christian Benteke, so there'll be a threat from set pieces.
Sun has come out from behind a cloud and he's just bathing Bramall Lane in light as Dean Henderson stands on his goal line. There's hardly anyone else inside the 6-yard box. Palace players lurking around the penalty spot in a huddle. Here comes the delivery from the right hand side, and as soon as it left the boot, the referee blew the whistle. No delay there, and he has blown the whistle for a free kick out. So obviously he said to the players before, if there's any pushing and shoving, I'm blowing the whistle, and he did it immediately.
Yeah, definitely. He's in charge of the game, so he's stamping down his authority early on. You saw with the booking of Lundstrom and the pushing in the box, he's going to control the game, but you don't want it to be all about him. You want him to let the game flow as well.
Only once in the Premier League era of Sheffield United and Crystal Palace being in the top flight together at the same time in the same season. That was right back in the inaugural campaign, the first ever Premier League season. John Fleck, neat and tidy in midfield. The former Coventry man gives it to George Baldock on the right hand side. Then a heavy touch from David McGoldrick. That draws the groans from the Sheffield United fans. Palace try to counter attack. It's played too far in front of Zaha, and Sheffield United can help it back to the goalkeeper Henderson, whose long clearance straight down the middle will be chased by Robinson. Callum Robinson putting pressure on Martin Kelly, who had a poor touch, but he's helped out by Joel Ward, and back to the goalkeeper. But that pressure from Robinson has forced Palace to put it out for a Sheffield United throw.
Yeah, definitely. That's what you have to do, give the crowd something to cheer about.
Well, they certainly have that. George Baldock takes a touch into the penalty area, right-hand side, sends it across, comes awkwardly off the head of James MacArthur and goes out for Sheffield United's first corner. And there was a little bit of momentum about that last attack or two, the last 45 seconds. Suddenly Sheffield United looked like the way they did last season in the Championship. Fleck has come across to take the corner. Left-footed from the right-hand side. It's going to be in-swinging. Two Sheffield United players inside the 6-yard box. Here it comes, floated towards the back post. There's a head put on it towards Jack O'Connell, but he can't angle it on target. Goal kick to Crystal Palace, still 0-0.
Yeah, that little bit of play there from before the corner by Robinson is what you want. You want to put pressure on this Palace back line. Palace are not comfortable playing the ball out from the back. So you have to give these crowds something to cheer about.
0-0. Waiter moves across to the other side of his 6-yard box to take the goal kick. Sheffield United fans want him to get on with it. And here it comes, right-footed, up over the halfway line. O'Connell calls. I thought he was going to head that, and then it came a bit lower than he thought, and he got it away with his left boot. It was the bare minimum, but he has cleared his lines. And then Milivojevic slides in on Callum Robinson, the summer signing from Preston. But Crystal Palace, the visitors, get it back with the goalkeeper now, Van Aanholt, on the left-hand side. Short ball into the midfield to Max Meyer, who's immediately put under pressure by George Baldock, and referee says it's a foul by Baldock. But Sheffield United fans are liking this, how suddenly their team are breathing down the neck of Crystal Palace and not allowing them play it comfortably out from the back. Scott Dan takes the free kick, turns and rolls it back to the goalkeeper once again. Palace are away again next weekend. They travel to Manchester United. They've got Colchester at home in the League Cup, their next home Premier League game, at home to Aston Villa. Andros Townsend has it in the middle of the midfield, scorer of the Premier League goal of the season last campaign. Zaha out to the right-hand side to Ward. Gives it back to Wilfred Zaha. It's had a quiet start to the game by his standards. Townsend skips into a bit of space. Ward takes it off. They've tackled each other there. Townsend had cut it back to swing in a left-footed cross, and almost tackling him, Joel Ward boots it into the crowd.
Yeah, it's a funny situation. They should just leave him. Townsend done ever so well to get onto his left foot. You know what he wants to do is deliver it into the box, looking for Benteke. But yeah, miscommunication between him and Joel Ward there.
0-0. Crystal Palace, who drew their opening game last weekend with a scoreless draw. Dean Henderson prepares to take the goal kick. Sheffield United, who did have the best defensive record in the Championship last season. Henderson kept 21 clean sheets, more than any other goalkeeper in that competition last year. Throw in for Crystal Palace down below us. Van Aanholt taking his time, and I think it's continued pattern here that Crystal Palace are trying to take the fizz out of the game, trying to steady the ship in this early stages.
That's the best thing to do, Connor, when you're away from home, is just settle it down. Try to keep the crowd as quiet as you can and try to play your game. This day
last week, it was at St James's Park. Arsenal did similar against Newcastle right from the beginning of that game. Just slowed it down, didn't allow any early giddy excitement from the home team. Van Aanholt plays it down the flank. Benteke out in the left wing position, challenged by George Baldock. That goes out for a Crystal Palace throw. And there he is, down below us, Roy Hodgson. Little thumbs up to Scott Dan that he's in the right position. Has play got back underway at the Ashes, Eleanor Oldroyd?
It has, yes, under bright sunshine, and we're in the first over. After lunch, England 157 for 4, so the same score that they were on at the lunch interval. Joss Butler on 31, Ben Stokes 51. First task really for these two to just keep on batting as long as possible. England 165 ahead.
We'll have regular updates from Eleanor throughout the afternoon. If you want ball-by-ball commentary, TMS is on 5 Live Sports Extra. Here at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 0, and Callum Robinson in possession, bearing down on the Crystal Palace penalty area, tries to send in a cross, headed away by Martin Kelly. Sheffield United get it back again. O'Connell, who's forward on one of these rampaging runs that the Sheffield United central defenders go on, feeds it on to Callum Robinson again, left wing. That's a good tackle. Joel Ward getting it back, but then giving it away again. Applause of the Sheffield United fans. They still have it in this attacking left wing position. Chance of a shot from a long way out, and that's not troubling anyone from Lundstrom. But it's another reminder to Crystal Palace that Sheffield United are going to come at them today.
Nice and neat, tidy play from Sheffield United. They passed the ball really well. They've started the more confident, I think, on the front foot. Palace have tried to keep the ball in spells, but without any authority going forward. Zaha's been quiet, as you said. So Sheffield United have started really well. Sheffield
United starting a run of 3 home games in a row. Crystal Palace today, Leicester here next Saturday, and then Blackburn come here in the League Cup. That's the following Tuesday. James McArthur, base anchor role in the midfield at the moment for Crystal Palace. Man who retired from international duty with Scotland early stage of last season to concentrate on prolonging his club career. Here is Scott Dann, midway inside the Palace half to the near touchline. Palace's left, Patrick Van Aanholt, and they are just trying to slow the pace down to a rhythm they are comfortable with, the visitors. That's a poor ball though from Scott Dann. It was intended for Zaha, it was way behind him, and it goes out for a throw in a wave of apology from Scott Dann.
Doesn't need to force it though, just keep the ball. Obviously Sheffield United have got a really good shape, so just keep the ball. Someone would then come out and then you'll have the space to play it in behind.
5 Live for the BBC. Chelsea against Leicester coming up at 4:30 with Alistair Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin. Now here is Wilfried Zaha in his natural habitat, the left wing, creeping in towards the penalty area. Good challenge. George Baldock decided early he was getting close to Zaha, and he got a nudge on the ball that forced it away from the Ivorian international. And Sheffield United away to clear, but McGoldrick can't get there ahead of Dan. Plenty of room for Joel Ward in the centre circle. Plays it short to the Serb, Luka Milivojevic. He's got a chance to look up, wearing the blue boots. Turns, gives it back to Martin Kelly again, and more room for Ward over on the right-hand side. Fleck saunters over to put pressure on him. It's played long towards Benteke. Back-pedalling was John Egan. Does well in the air against the Belgian. Sheffield United get it away up to the halfway line in Kevin Robinson. He lays it off to John Lundstrom, who's got Baldock making a run outside him. Lundstrom up to the halfway line. Palace trying to fall back into defensive formation. Good work by James McArthur to make an interception, but then Ollie Norwood takes it down inside the centre circle and sets the Blades in action once again. Fleck out to the left-hand side. McGoldrick has taken up a position out there. Poor ball infield from him. Intercepted by Milivojevic. Palace try to play their way out. They're a bit hesitant in their final third, but Meyer with a better ball to Van Aanholt, and Palace should be able to clear it away. Van Aanholt decides to turn and gives it back to Guaita. Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 0.
See, there's a great chance, and that's where Christian Benteke is not playing with confidence. Palace win the ball, they can break. His layoff has gone 15 yards back where he can just set it to the midfielder, and then Zaha was in on goal. So he has to do better. His all-round game's not been good enough so far.
Palace with this steady start we've been referencing about trying to control the game to their tempo, but maybe too cautious in this opening quarter of an hour, as John Lundstrom has possession on the halfway line. Decent pass into Ollie Norwood wearing the yellow boots. Back again to Lundstrom and over into space for Jack O'Connell on the far side. Palace falling back into a defensive formation. All 11 players inside their own half. Long ball from Sheffield United, controlled by Baldock on the edge of the penalty area. Tries to slip it through to Basham, who'd got off of one of those overlapping runs we were talking about before kick-off, but it's intercepted out for a throw. Taken quickly by Sheffield United. Baldock crossing position on the right. Meyer trying to get close to him, all the way to the byline. Does deliver the cross. Basham was close to it with the header. Palace relieved to see it out of the penalty area, and Townsend should be able to clear. His shirt has been pulled. Free kick to Palace. That was really dangerous cross from George Baldock.
No, it was really good play from Baldock. He does ever so well. You always see him as a wing back, going up and down and delivering good crosses. What Max Meyer is very good going forward. What he doesn't give you defensively, he has to improve. That's why if Jeffrey Schlupp had been 100% fit, Roy Hodgson always plays Jeffrey Schlupp because he does a great job of that.
Contrast in styles between the two coaches down there. Roy Hodgson very formal in his well-fitting suit and the patent leather shoes. Chris Wilder more of the gilet and sporting attire, tracksuit bottoms on. Different contrasting styles of the two coaches. Very much a different experience level in the Premier League as well, of course.
I don't think I'd be a suit man. I think I'd be a Chris Wilder.
Would you? You'd be the tracksuit?
I'd be the tracksuit. But I'd throw a bit of different in it. I'd probably wear a baseball cap.
And I was going to say,
a bit different.
I'm very glad you said that. What I would love, Clinton, when you do inevitably become a Premier League manager, I want you to wear the suit with the baseball cap.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll
bring a bit of style.
That would be
definitely.
very stylish. 0-0 here at Bramall Lane. Van Aanholt up to the halfway line. Feeds it through the channel of the left wing to Wilfried Zaha. Here he comes, bandage strapping on both wrists as he tries to break into the penalty area. Good tackle by Baldock. Been very impressed by George Baldock in this opening 20 minutes. He puts it out for a Crystal Palace corner.
He's a good fullback, but he can also play right back, but he plays in a wing back. He's really good. He's got to have loads of energy to play that position. You see him 1 minute getting forward, crossing it, and 1 minute defending. Good tackle on Zaha.
So it will be Milivojevic to take the corner kick. Palace have got a lot of players in the penalty area. Townsend is lurking with menace on the edge of the box here. Milivojevic plays it in. Henderson punches towards Townsend, but over him and out for a throw. That's commanding goalkeeper. What a punch from Henderson from inside his 6-yard box, out for a throw in midway through the Sheffield United half.
Well, that's what you want from your goalkeeper. Yeah, he stamps his authority straight away, comes out, calls his ball, and it's a great punch. It's not like a timid punch. He gets pure distance on it, and it's really good goalkeeping.
Crystal Palace in possession. Scott Dan bang on the halfway line. Van Arnold in a bit of room to his left. The sun keeps dipping in and out behind a cloud, illuminating and then slightly shadowing the pitch as clearance away by Enda Stevens is high and comes down on the halfway line where it's met by the forehead of Joel Ward. His header is returned towards the edge of the Sheffield United penalty area. Jack O'Connell clears it away. Bit of head tennis going on at the moment as Martin Kelly nods it down, but Van Arnold gets it down on the deck and he sets off in motion down the left wing. Meyer up ahead of him. Palace attacking on the left-hand side. Plenty of red and white striped shirts back for Sheffield United. Milivojevic, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Creeps closer to the box and gives it out to Van Arnold. Poor ball from him. It was attempted across the edge of the box to Townsend. Palace do get it back again after a brief interception. Zaha's cross deep towards the backman post, very well judged to Townsend. Thought that was going to sail over him, but it dipped at the end. Townsend returns it back in with interest. Benteke tries to get up off the ground. Basham did well. Basham, I think, headed it out. Yes, last touch off the Sheffield United defender. It's a corner to Crystal Palace. Quality cross from Andros Townsend.
Yeah, you know what Andros is going to do. He gets it onto his left foot. 9 times out of 10, he'll deliver it into the right area. Benteke was lurking, but very good defending from Basham there.
So the latest corner for Crystal Palace will be taken by Luka Milivojevic. Here it comes, right-footed, low trajectory, easily cleared away by Lundstrom. Chance of a counter-attack here for Sheffield United. Callum Robinson sets up. Myers pulling the shirt almost off him, and after a brief delay for the referee, David Coote, he does blow the whistle and gives the free kick to Sheffield United. That was quite cynical, as Crystal Palace were wary of Callum Robinson starting a counter-attack there.
And he doesn't need to do it. He's going into Patrick Van Arnold. There's no danger. And really and truly, the letter of the law, it should be a booking. So he's very lucky there.
Forward by Norwood. Didn't quite have the right angle for the run of David McGoldrick. And Vicente Guaita comes out of his penalty area and heads the ball for a Sheffield United throw. Baldock has come forward to take it, the former MK Dons player. Linked with a move to Celtic this summer, but here he is, still a blade. Little 1-2 with Lundstrom. Chance to cross on the right-hand side. Palace should get it away with Milivojevic bouncing inside the penalty area. Comes out for Basham. Hit by Enda Stevens. Appeals for a penalty. It came off an arm. Then play on with McGoldrick. He tries to shoot, and it's cleared away. More of that in a moment. First, though, to the Ashes and a wicket for Ellie Oldroyd.
And England have lost their first wicket of the day, 161 for 5, and it's Jos Buttler out for 31, just pulling it away off Pat Cummins, caught in the deep by Josh Hazlewood. England 161 for 5, 169 runs is the lead.
And coverage continues over at 5 Live Sports Extra. Boos around Bramall Lane. Crystal Palace have gone and won a corner up the other end, but they feel they should have had a penalty here, Clinton Morrison. We're getting to see a replay. What's your view of this?
It's not a penalty. His elbow is tucked down beside him. It's not like he's done it. And it's from about 2 yards away. It's hit Joe. I don't think that's a penalty.
No. You know what gives it extra intrigue? It actually hits the arm of 2 different defenders, both of whom are wrapping their arms around themselves, giving themselves a hug, as defenders have to do nowadays to stay on the right side of the law. But yes, it strikes the arm. You could in no conceivable world say that was intentional handball.
No, I totally agree with you, Connor. It's not. His elbow's still tucked in, and it's just managed to hit the elbow. It's clever, and that's what defenders are going to do now, because they know strikers will kick the ball at them and penalties will be given.
As we saw at Manchester City yesterday, had that been an attacker whose arms it hit, then yes, it would have been an altercation. It's difficult keeping up with all the variances these days, isn't it?
It sure is, mate.
Here is John Fleck, midway inside the Crystal Palace half. Been a bright start to the game here. First home game in the top flight at Bramall Lane for 12 years. Fleck has possession. Milivojevic right in his face, forcing an early pass. Townsend intercepts. Sheffield United has the throw. I heard a lot of people saying yesterday, that it's not fair to the attackers, because if it hits the defender's arm, as we just saw there, it's not a problem, and whereas if it hits the attacker, I do feel it balances itself out with the new rule about when a shot goes in and it hits a defender's arm in the air. Defenders have had to adapt so much to take that. I actually, there's a bit of balancing out.
Yeah,
but, okay, this rule affects the attackers, the other one affects the defenders.
Totally agree. It does balance it out. Yeah, that's for the defenders, and obviously a lot of people say it's harsh on the attackers, but throughout the season, you see a lot of teams will get the benefit of the doubt in either or. So yeah, I think it's a good rule, but it's going to take time to get used to.
Referees are loving it, by the way, because no one's blaming the referee anymore. It's all VAR's fault. Here is Baldock, right-hand side to the byline, sends it in, headed down away by Ward, isn't very far. Norwood is following up. Normally very good technique. It gets deflected out for a corner. Sheffield United fans behind that goal are all up and standing on their seats, many of them. Norwood hit that with some venom. I don't know if it was going in, but the deflection off Meyer drilled it up over the crossbar, corner to the home side in the sunshine.
Yeah, Sheffield United have been on the front foot. I think they've looked a better team so far, and yeah, it was good defensive work from Max Meyer there, but good shot from Norwood.
Here comes the corner, played in low, rehearsed move, flicked on at the front post by Jack O'Connell, but it was played in low, and through sheer weight of numbers, Crystal Palace had enough back there to get it away. Inventive corner though from Norwood. It came in low, is exactly what he meant to do. He's on the ball again, left flank, gives it short into Fleck from miles out, tries a shot, always rising, not troubling Guaita, and that sails over the top. Goal kick to Crystal Palace, still 0-0. Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, it's been all Sheffield United. I'm really enjoying them. They're attacking really well. They're playing good. In particular, Fleck and Norwood are getting on the ball in little pockets. And I like my midfielders. The first up thought is always to pass forward. So I think they've started really well.
Possession with Crystal Palace, Milivojevic, and he just holds up because we're going to have a delay in play here due to another Sheffield United player being down and requiring some treatment.
This could be an injury blow because there's no one around him, and he's just gone down as soon as he struck the shot, so it must be a muscular injury.
It's John Fleck, who's a nephew of the former Norwich, Chelsea, Rangers, Scotland forward Robert Fleck, and he's just laying down. Physios come out to have a look at it. Sheffield United fans will hope it's not anything too serious. Available on the bench, Ben Osborne, former Nottingham Forest player, he's a midfielder. Luke Freeman would probably be the one they'd bring on, the new signing from Queen's Park Rangers. Sheffield United, who have taken a punt on Ravel Morrison this summer, he's not amongst the substitutes. He's still settling in, but at the moment John Fleck receiving treatment and all sorts of activity down amongst the Sheffield United technical area as they decide whether or not he's going to be fit to continue.
Yeah, it will be a big blow because I think him and Norwood are dominating that midfield at the moment. Obviously, Mo Besic as well, they brought him in. He's a midfielder who could come on. So they've got a lot of options in midfield who could come on to replace him.
So Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 0 is the score here. Later on, we've got Chelsea against Leicester. Commentary on Premier League Sunday on 5 Live from Stamford Bridge. Earlier on today in the Championship, good afternoon for Reading. They beat Cardiff City by 3-0, 2 goals for Puskas, 1 for Swift. And John Fleck is walking slowly towards the sideline. He's not going to be able to continue. They're preparing the change. Luke Freeman, who was Queen's Park Rangers Player of the Year last season, £5 million signing over the summer. He is about to come on into the Sheffield United midfield.
It's a big blow. I said it. He started really well, but Freeman's an exciting player. I've seen a lot of him play at QPR last season. He's got some spectacular goals. He's got a great delivery. So I'm looking for big things from him this season.
Luke Freeman, who was for a while one of those promising young talents at Arsenal, always just on the edge of the first team squad, never made a first team appearance for them, but did very well at Queen's Park Rangers, and here he is in the Premier League. With Sheffield United part of a 3-man midfield now with Lundstrom, Norwood and Freeman. You know, it's funny, even now in August, so many teams with bringing injuries into the season, picking up a few injuries the first couple of games, and I wonder how many Premier League coaches are still delighted with this idea of finishing the transfer window early in August and not letting it go to the end of the month like the rest of Europe do, and the way the Premier League used to do it. I mean, managers said they didn't like it because they could lose players, But I'm sure one or two of them would love that option now to be able to go and make a signing now that we're underway.
Definitely, Conor, because you pick up injuries at the start of the season and you can't sign anyone now because your squad's sorted. It leaves you a bit short. So I would have said you do it like in Europe, the end of the month, and it's better for all. But the managers did agree to it, and that's what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, you can totally understand it. Say Roy Hodgson, he's probably delighted now the Premier League clubs can't sign Wilfried Zaha. He could still go to a European club, of course, but it gives him a bit of certainty. But yeah, the new transfer deadline, so many new little additions and tweaks and alterations in football, some more popular than others, shall we say. 0-0 here at Bramall Lane. Long clearance from Dean Henderson, bounces twice and goes all the way through into the opposition penalty area and through to Guaita, who took a little while to settle in at Crystal Palace, got into the team round about December, and he looks comfortable as the number one goalkeeper these days with Hennessy on the bench.
Yeah, he's on the bench. It's big shoes to fill because Palace fans have always loved Julian Speroni, who they let go in the summer, but Guaita's been really good. He's made some crucial saves since he's been at Palace, and the Palace fans do like him a lot.
Mr. Crystal Palace, Julian Speroni, someone I'm sure you know well.
Yeah, know him
Clinton.
well. Yeah, great guy.
Knows
great
an Argentinian steak, I believe.
Yes, he does. He loves it. He does love it. But he's a great guy. He was a great servant for Crystal Palace, and I think he's still looking for a club at the moment. Hopefully he gets sorted out soon.
And Sheffield United try to come on the attack here. Long ball over the top. Scott Dann taking no chances, which has been the policy for Crystal Palace in this game. He just heads it out for a throw. And Sheffield United take that throw in, and it's back with John Egan, centre of the three central defenders. Here comes Enda Stevens down the left-hand side into a crossing position, tries to whip it in, dealt with well by Joel Ward, who was the first defender. Goes back to Norwood in the midfield for Sheffield United. That's a good ball, stretching the play out to the right-hand side. Baldock, though, terrible pass back behind Basham, who had charged forward like a train. Mistake by Myring clearing it away. Baldock, to be fair, put pressure on him and forced that. Good work by Baldock. I like that in a player. He made a mistake, but then he worked so hard to make amends for it. Here come Crystal Palace, though. Benteke running into the sunshine, gets to within 10 yards of the penalty area. Zaha into the box, turns onto his left boot. Good challenge by Basham. Basham, who, remember, was the player who the pass went behind just a moment ago down the other end. That's a great recovery charge back from him to make up the ground on Wilfried Zaha there. And Palace give it a ball away. Groans from the visiting fans as Sheffield United tried to turn defence into attack. Luke Freeman just on as a substitute, glides one over the top. Callum Robinson, chance, hits it right-footed over the top. Well, he was edge of the penalty area. It needed to be a brilliant shot from there, but it's a chance for Sheffield United, and it gets the crowd on their feet as it sails over.
And that's what Freeman can give you. He drove with the ball, he gets his head up, he's got a pass to McGoldrick, he picks out Robinson, and his touch is not, he can't get a touch. It's a half decent touch. If his touch is more cleaner, he would have got his shot away quicker. But it's a great break from Sheffield United.
Benteke wins the ball ahead of O'Connell, and then crossed wires between him and Townsend, and the ball goes out for a throw into Sheffield United on the far side. After the Chelsea-Leicester game today, 6:06 with Robbie Savage and Sam Quek this evening on 5 Live. Tomorrow night we've got more live Premier League football. Wolves take on Manchester United at Molineux. Full commentary here on 5 Live. You can see the goals tonight. Match of the day 2, BBC 1 at 10:30. Chapper's back in the chair with Danny Murphy and Tim Cahill. So throw in to Sheffield United, which they're really taking their time overtaking here. Enda Stevens eventually sends it down that left flank, flicked on by David McGoldrick. He can't control it though, and it's through to the Palace goalkeeper. What a year David McGoldrick had last season. He was voted Sheffield United Fans Player of the Year. This was after being let go, remember, by Ipswich. So Ipswich said, we don't want you, let him go. Ipswich will get relegated. He gets promoted as Fans Player of the Year.
Yeah, and he come here on trial. He was on trial. He had to prove himself. But Dave, I call him Didzy. That's his nickname around here, and that's what, because I know him personally. But he's a good player, and he's worked ever so hard. He was worried last season he wouldn't get a club, but then he ended up scoring 15, 16 goals, and he's been a tremendous addition to Sheffield United and back in the Republic of Ireland team. Yeah,
that's the voice of Clinton Morrison, who knew how to find the back of the net for Palace and the Republic of Ireland in the past. Watching this game with us here on 5 Live Sport, as Crystal Palace have possession with James McArthur in the midfield, onto Andros Townsend. And Palace have yet to have a real clear-cut opportunity in the game so far. Benteke and Zaha have had to be patient and really just feeding off scraps, that front two, so far in the game. But here is Zaha, 7 or 8 yards outside the penalty area. Tried a nutmeg on Lundstrom, who snapped his heel shut and said there's no way through there. Sheffield United clear it long into the Palace half. The visitors will come again. MacArthur out into space for Joel Ward on the right-hand side. Townsend gives it back to Ward. Infield to James MacArthur. Benteke feels the weight of John Egan into the back of him. Oh, referee says too much from Egan. Free kick to Palace. This is probably shooting position for the likes of Townsend and company.
Yeah, it is. I thought Milivojevic has got a good free kick, but I don't think it's on his side. So maybe Townsend or Patrick Van Aanholt. It depends who wants to take it. But Townsend looked like he's walking away, so might be Van Aanholt or Milivojevic.
Clever from Benteke. Ball came to his feet. He knew Egan was going to come. Almost like he drew the foul, winning the free kick, because he wasn't going to go anywhere else. And now Sheffield United, for the first time in the game, have got a free kick within shooting distance. And Van Aanholt has gone across as the left-footed option. He's only standing about 2 paces from the ball, though, so I don't think he's going to hit it. This might be floated into the box. Martin Kelly's gone forward to be in there. Benteke's an obvious target. These are moments of tension for Sheffield United. Their first home game in the top flight for 12 years. It's hit by Milivojevic into the wall. Disappointing free kick, actually, and it ricochets out for a throw.
And Van Aanholt gives him a high five. That's not a high five. I'd be telling my midfielder, put the ball in the box or hit the target. Or if not, let me take it. These footballers are too nice nowadays, Connor.
The
too
game's
nice.
gone, Clinton.
It has gone. It's gone.
They're
Everyone's too nice.
Sheffield United 0. Crystal Palace 0. Ward in a right full-back position through Milivojevic and into Scott Dan. And Palace beginning to see more of the ball now. Their ball retention in the midfield is better. Zaha back to Van Aanholt, up to the feet of Benteke, traps it well. Support from Milivojevic behind him. Now Zaha, left wing, into Max Meyer. He pulls it back to Van Aanholt. Good challenge by Luke Freeman to win it back for Sheffield United, to come away with the ball. Options left and right. Van Aanholt tries to recover. Just held up Freeman a fraction, but he does smuggle it on to Robinson, who's got a crossing position now on the right. Support from Lundstrom. Back in field to Freeman, and it goes out for a Sheffield United throw. Palace did well to get bodies back there, but Sheffield United showing a danger on the counter-attack, which will please Chris Wilder.
Definitely, I thought it would be Palace doing a counter-attacking, but Sheffield United, they when they break with pace. It's really nice to watch.
Ball out of play off Ollie Norwood. A few groans from the Sheffield United fans. Still 0-0 here. Around about 10 minutes to go to the break. What's the latest at the cricket? Eleanor Oldroyd.
England haven't lost another wicket since you were last with us. 168 for 5 is the current score. But Australia thought they had trapped Ben Stokes, LBW, given not out on the field. Australia appealed, but it was lost. The review was lost only after a very, very long delay in the DRS system, which didn't come up on the big screen, and there was a lot of standing around laughing until it was proved that Australia had lost their second review. So they have no reviews left. England have a lead of 177 now, 169 for 5.
Technology in sport, Ellie. It'll never catch on. Here's Freeman just outside the penalty area for Sheffield United. He's got support outside from Enda Stevens, and they wait patiently in the middle here as those two between them exchange passes a couple of times, and there's no delivery into the penalty area, and then it eventually goes out for a throw into Palace. Good defending from the visitors there, and a few disappointments for Sheffield United because they had bodies in the box, they just couldn't get it into them.
Yeah, Enda Stevens, he should have just delivered it. He had the half a yard and he's waiting, and O'Connell's gone round him. He wants the ball earlier, but deliver the box. That's what strikers want.
Here comes Lundstrom for Sheffield United. Took it well, but then ran into Milivojevic. Good battling back by Lundstrom to win it once more. Freeman hits it from outside the penalty area. Kelly gets in the way again. He's made a couple of crucial interceptions in the game. This is Callum Robinson. Tries to cross from the left. Appeals for a handball. Robinson gets another chance. Overcooks the cross this time. Spins away over everyone and goes out for a goal kick. Martin Kelly's positioning, it's either that or luck, Clinton, but he has been in the right position to block several shots in this first half.
Very underrated defender, Martin Kelly. Usually Palace's centre-backs are Sacco and Tompkins, who have formed a great partnership, but every time Martin Kelly's come into that team, he's always looked good, and he's meant to be a right-back, so he reads the game really well, and that's from good learning at Liverpool as well.
So Crystal Palace, who won all 3 of their Premier League away games against newly promoted opposition last season, I think Liverpool and Spurs were the only other two clubs to beat all of the newly promoted teams away from home. But 0-0 so far here at Bramall Lane. As Van Aanholt on the halfway line turns and gives it back again to Scott down. This conservative approach from Crystal Palace continuing as half-time approaches. Andros Townsend on the ball just inside the Sheffield United half, closed down by Luke Freeman, goes out for a throw-in on the far side. Sheffield United players all just take a few steps back and get into what looks to be a very well drilled defensive formation. It's a clear 5-3-2 at the moment, with the wing backs tucked right back in. Van Aanholt sends it down the channel, received by Christian Benteke, who had been linked to a big money move to China in the summer. And this is Milivojevic back to the halfway line, and Martin Kelly. And Palace try their look down the right hand side with Andros Townsend. Zaha pretty much takes it off his toe, says, "I'll have this, thank you very much." Plays a little 1-2 with Joel Ward on the right hand side. Zaha with that close touch control, which is mesmerising. Plays a 1-2, tries to return it back again into the box to Meyer. Then down goes to Qualisper on the edge of the penalty area. Benteke slips as well. Zaha tries to get it back, and a good lunge by George Baldock wins possession for Sheffield United, and McGoldrick will take it away to the halfway line. Palace, for the first time, they're trying to tease their way into the Sheffield United box.
Yeah, definitely. And it comes from Zaha. He wants the ball. He wants to make things happen. He's been really quiet in the first half. I don't think Palace have used him as much, but when he's on the ball, you can see he's their main danger.
Here comes Sheffield United down the left. Enda Stevens drags it back under his studs. He's looking for options. Norwood provides one in the centre. Back out to the left-hand side. Jack O'Connell on one of these overlapping runs the centre halves do, but he can't trap the ball played to him. And it's a bit disappointing for the United fans as that just trickles out for a Palace throw. 0-0.
You can see Enda Stevens, the fans are getting a bit, not on him I wouldn't say, but a bit like put the ball in the box. He's getting into areas and he's not knowing if to deliver. Just put the ball into the areas. If the strikers are not there, then you can have a go at them.
Just for listeners at home, we've mentioned this overlapping centre halves thing a few times. We'll try to describe exactly what it is in case you're struggling. It's kind of the new false nine in football.
It's ridiculous. That's what it is. It's like the third centre half, where because the wing back plays high anyway. So the third centre half is by the byline when he's receiving the ball and getting crosses in. It's extraordinary, to be fair. But then they have midfielders who fill in for the third centre half. So you have to work on it, and Sheffield United did work on it loads last year, and that is why they've done so well in the champ. Yeah,
Enda Stevens and George Baldock are the wing backs. More of that in a moment. Robinson wins possession of the edge of the penalty area. Lundstrom crosses it back post. McGoldrick had to score. Oh, it's saved by Guaita. How did McGoldrick not score that? Low across the edge of the 6-yard box. He had made the movement to get into the position. He tried to side foot it in. Guaita makes a miraculous save.
I think he goes with his right foot. Yeah, and I think if he goes with his left foot, he'll get better contact in the side of his foot. But you have to give full credit to Guaita. It's an excellent save, but it's one that McGoldrick will know he should have scored.
What an opportunity. Sheffield United in the Premier League. How many gilt-edged chances like that are they going to get? David McGoldrick is still coming to terms with not having made it 1-0. I mean, his movement was brilliant. He was exactly in the poacher's position.
Yeah, it was. It was great movement. It's a great ball from Lundstrom, but he's there. He's in between the sticks where I want it, and he's not made contact. It's kind of hit his shin pad, and that's why it's comfortable for him. He's not got full contact on his football boot. It's hit his shin pad, and it's gone through. And Guaita has made a good save, and he'll be disappointed because he'll know it's a great chance, and they should be 1-0 up.
Yeah, good save. Palace relieved because there was a defensive error that led to that. Another defensive error. Scott Dann fails to give it away. Here is Lundstrom in the midfield. His presence in the game is growing all the time. Enda Stevens, left-hand side, runs along the edge of the penalty area, back to Lundstrom, floats it delicately along the edge of the penalty area to bring George Baldock into play on the right-hand side. Now the cross from Basham, flicked on by Robinson, the front post corner. Came off Scott Dann. Sheffield United sniffing a goal before the break.
Yeah, and it's all down to Palace's own fault. The first one was Van Aanholt. He's trying to play inside. Just get the ball and clip it down the line, and sometimes it's not a bad ball, but Sheffield United look really good, and it looks like it's only a matter of time before this goal comes.
So the corner will be taken by Luke Freeman on the right-hand side. Left-footed player, so it will be in swinging. Guaita, who's made the big save of the match so far, just adjusting his gloves on the goal line. Here it comes into the middle. Poor delivery. Benteke should be able to clear away. Yes, he will, on the edge of the 6-yard box. Up towards Townsend. That's a brilliant little illusion there as he allowed it through his legs and took a flick on the way through. And it's put out no nonsense by Enda Stevens, who'd come all the way over from left wing back to put it out in a right full back position. Baldock is down injured. Plays briefly brought to a halt. Let's have another look at the replay here. He was injured by Townsend, so the ball's going to Townsend. He knows that Bulldog's behind him. He jumps backwards almost. He flicks the ball on. As he does so, does he elbow Bulldog? What's your view, Clinton Morrison?
No, I don't think he elbows. He's obviously, Bulldog's made the challenge, and Townsend can't see where he is. He's going for the ball, and it's a foul. But I'm watching, Connor, what's going on the side of the pitch where Wilfried Zaha and Chris Wilder are having a set to. I think Wilf says Wilder's kind of barged him, and Zaha's having a proper go at him, and now it's just going to get all the fans wild here, and it's clever play from Chris Wilder.
Yeah, it is. I don't think I think what Townsend's doing, he's stealing himself. I'm about to do a dummy here. The guy's going to hit me from the back, so he's kind of clenching himself. He doesn't swing out with the elbow.
He's not swinging.
He's got a stiff.
He's stiffing himself. Yeah. That's because you expect a tackle to be coming, so you're just bracing yourself. Bulldog plays it clever because he could have got booked there. So I've kind of seen why he's gone down for that long. That's
the voice of Clinton Morrison watching this game with us here on 5 Live. We were talking about the overlapping centre half. So John Egan is the centre half. He's a proper old school centre half. On either side of him, Jack O'Connell and Chris Basham. But what happens is when the team attacks at a side, they go on these mad runs where they go outside of the wing backs and get into crossing positions. And more on this in just a moment, because Townsend's in a crossing position here for Crystal Palace. Weaves in a wide arc back into a deeper position. 3 minutes being added on for stoppages ahead of half time. And play has been held up. I think it's going to be... What is this going to be? It
hit the referee, so they instantly stop it and give it back to Palace. Basically, ref, get out of the way. You're in the way of the football. That's what I'd be saying. Get out of the way.
You were mentioning, Clinton, we're talking about the overlapping centre halves, how wide the wing backs go anyway. Do you remember the old days when in football programmes, team formations, I'm talking George Best, Bobby Charlton. Do you remember they used to line up with sort of 5 in attack and then in midfield, and there was only ever about 3 defenders anyway. That was the way. It was like a triangle is how they used to draw it.
Yeah.
It's almost like Sheffield United should be drawn that way with Enda Stevens and Bullock. They're like wingers really, rather than wing backs.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting fiery, and this game is definitely. And Wilf, you know what thing I know him, he loves it. If the fans are getting onto him, he'll up his game and he'll cause problems. I've seen a game last season where he done it. The fans were battering him, picked the ball up, went on a drive and made a fantastic goal. So he loves it. Sometimes I'm always against players getting involved with the fans, but that gets the best out of him. So
yeah, he's had a bit of jostling. He's got a smile on his face, Wilfried Zaha. Here comes the free kick played in for Crystal Palace. Goalkeeper came, not as clean a punch this time from Henderson, but they get it away. Yeah, Wilfried Zaha has enjoyed his little bit of banter there with both Chris Wilder and Sheffield United fans. Let's see what impact it has on his game as Callum Robinson tries to come on the attack. Stoppage time at the end of a cagey enough opening 45 minutes here at Bramall Lane, as Crystal Palace just launch it long back into the Sheffield United half, and it carries through to Dean Henderson once again. So best chance of the half fell to David McGoldrick. Low cross from Lundstrom. Good save by Guaita. But I think when he looks back at it, David McGoldrick will feel he should have scored.
100%, Connor. He'll know he should have scored. It's a great chance. I just don't think he gets enough contact on the ball, and it kind of hits his shin pads and doesn't hit the football boot. So brilliant, but brilliant tackle back there from McGoldrick.
Header from Milivojevic on the halfway line. McGoldrick picks up possession. Calmly turns and rolls it back to John Egan. Now Oliver Norwood has it, trying to play the quarterback role. He unleashes it long, looking for a run by Luke Freeman. It's going to pop up for Robinson here. Maybe time for one more attack. That's good work by Max Meyer to win it back for Crystal Palace. And then calm work by James McArthur. Spun around 360 degrees just on the edge of his own penalty area. But calm as you like, he gets it away. Palace go long up to Christian Benteke. Does well to hold off John Egan. Very physical from Benteke, who's then fouled by Luke Freeman. Late free kick for Palace.
That's what, Connor, he needs to do more often, Benteke. He does not use his frame. That is proper centre forward play, where you're under pressure. Ward plays a ball up to it, gets it into his chest, tracks 3 defenders around him, and then buys the free kick for Crystal Palace. That's what he needs to do, and he hasn't been doing for the last couple of seasons.
So, free kick to Palace. This will probably be the final action of the first half. Milivojevic is standing over it. He doesn't want to rush it. He knows he's going to be given time to take this. Martin Kelly's gone forward from the back. Benteke is up there. Played towards Scott Dan, who was the furthest line defender. He can't get a clean touch, so the referee, David Coote, blows the whistle for half-time. So it's all about that David McGoldrick miss. Otherwise, how do you think Sheffield United have fared, Clinton?
I think Sheffield United have done really well. They've been on the front foot. Obviously, they'll be disappointed they're not going in 1-0 up. David McGoldrick will know it's a massive chance for him, and on another day, he would have put that in the back of the net. But I think they've gone forward at pace. They've done ever so well. Palace have not created as much chances as they would have liked. Zaha's got into the game in the last 5 minutes. But all in all, a really entertaining first half, but Sheffield United have been the better team.
There you go, Steve. Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 0 at half-time.
Great stuff. We'll be back with Connor and Clinton for the second half, and you can just hear the reception as Wilfried Zaha walks off the pitch at Bramall Lane, riled up by the Sheffield United fans and the Blades. Well, what a chance they missed through David McGoldrick. All set up nicely for the second half. 0-0 at the break. Coming up shortly, we'll make our first visit of the day to Stamford Bridge ahead of our second commentary game on 5 Live Premier League Sunday, which is Chelsea against Leicester City. That one kicks off at 4:30. Ashes, Diamond League Athletics, Super League to come after the news on 5 Live with Lisa McCormick.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The government dismissed claims of food, fuel and medicine shortages after a no-deal Brexit as scaremongering. It's after a leaked document showed it's something ministers are preparing for. The report also predicts the return of a hard border in Ireland. The Liberal Democrats' Brexit spokesman is Tom Brake.
The government have simply pretended that this wasn't an issue. At least there is one part of government, as leaked in this report, which confirms that this is a major problem, and incidentally a problem which the US has said that if that border is jeopardised, we're not going to get a trade deal with them. So we seem to be in a real pickle here.
Specialist police divers are searching for a 6-year-old boy who fell into a river in Kent yesterday afternoon. Lucas Dobson went into the River Store while on a fishing trip with his family. A Muslim convert who joined the Islamic State group has been stripped of his British citizenship. Jack Letts, who's also known as Jihadi Jack, was 18 when he left his home in Oxfordshire to go to Syria in 2014. A pro-democracy rally in Hong Kong's gone off peacefully. Tens of thousands of people took part. It's the latest in an 11-week campaign, which has at times seen violent clashes between protesters and police. Professor Rana Mitters from Oxford University's China Centre.
This is leaderless. It's much more like, you might almost say, a howl of rage against the feeling that they're slowly having their rights in terms of free media, academic rights, assembly and so forth, just slowly worn away like sandpaper. And that's really, I think, why it's been such a grassroots sort of movement and why it's so hard for the authorities to work out what to do next.
A rugby league player has been found dead in his hotel room the day after making his debut for Championship side Batley Bulldogs. The club says it's greatly saddened by the death of 20-year-old Archie Bruce. And more than £60,000 has been donated by members of the public in less than 24 hours to support the family of PC Andrew Harper. The 28-year-old police officer died after he was dragged along the road by a vehicle while responding to a call on Thursday night.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
There's big problems on the M40 southbound this afternoon. It's closed because of an accident between junction 5 for Stokenchurch and 4 for the A404. A diversion's in place there, but it is causing long delays and some traffic is still trapped in that closure. 5 Live Travel, I'm Lisa McCormick.
BBC 5 Live.
The Ashes are back, and so are the Tailenders.
Welcome to Tailenders.
Join Greg James, Felix White and Jimmy Anderson for an alternative look at the Ashes.
Would you back yourself to take the final catch more than bowl the final ball?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Wow.
Can't believe we got a super over.
It's absolute scenes, Greg. Tailenders. Download and subscribe now using the BBC Sounds app.
Shall we sing?
Tailenders! Tailenders! Tailenders!
And this is Tailenders on BBC Radio 5 Live. We warned them not to put us on.
Wow. Yes.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
5 Live's Premier League Sunday.
Welcome back to 5 Live with me, Steve Crossman. Sorry, bit of a technical error there. It's Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 0 at half-time in the first of our 2 commentary games this afternoon. We've got Chelsea, Leicester City to come at 4:30 as well. We'll take you to Stamford Bridge shortly, but it's a huge final day in the second test of the Ashes. We thought it could be pivotal for the whole series, but is it just meandering towards a draw? Ellie Oldroyd's at Lords.
me that has microphone switching off problems. But yeah, it's been going pretty well for England so far. We are into the afternoon session and there's quite a lot of clouds overhead at Lord's. No threat of rain as far as we can see at the moment, but England are 187 for 5 with Ben Stokes 66 not out. That could well go for 4 runs as well. So he has batted so well here for England, and Johnny Bairstow is on 12, including a 6, so he's been taking it to the bowlers, and with a lead of 195 runs just ticking up now. This is pretty much the situation that England would have wanted to be in at this stage in the game. Mark Ramprakash, former England batsman, sitting alongside me. But do you think they would have in their minds at any stage going for the win here?
Well, it's a really tricky situation for Joe Root as captain. England are 1-0 down, and if they try and force the pace now, they run the risk of being bowled out. But perhaps that's their best chance to go on and win this game. They've got a lead of 197, with Ben Stokes going along nicely in 68. And Johnny Bairstow's come in and been his typical sort of energetic self. You know, we've seen a reverse sweep, we've seen him hit line back over his head. Ben Stokes has just unleashed a brilliant slog sweep off Nathan Lyon. It's gone all the way down to the Tavern boundary for 6. So I think England are looking to put their foot on the gas, and if they can get a lead of about 250, which is only another 50 runs, which especially with these two at the crease, that may not take that long. It may give Australia something like 46, 47 overs to play, and England would feel that there's still plenty happening in this pitch for them to put Australia under some pressure. As Ben Stokes goes again, another huge hit over deep mid-wicket.
Exactly the same place off Nathan Lyon. I mean, this is like watching Ben Stokes batting in the World Cup final, isn't it? We were watching Stokes and Buttler batting together a little bit earlier on. Very different situation, very different game, very different mood. But watching them out there together in the middle, and psychologically, this is important for England, thinking with a third test ahead of us.
Yes, absolutely. There's plenty that they can take out of today. Even if it's not a win, there's still some important performances and confidence to be gained. Ben Stokes having some time at the crease, showing his confidence. Nothing wrong with that delivery from Nathan Lyon operating at the nursery end. A bit of drift into left-hander, a bit of turn, but Ben Stokes putting his foot down and slog sweep over deep mid-wicket. 2 successive 6s there, and England now moving on to 201 for 5, but with a lead of 209.
Yeah, 57 overs left in the day. Whatever happens, we will not see Steve Smith taking any further part in this game, and obviously question marks as well over his participation in the next test, which starts at Headingley on Thursday. This is because he's been diagnosed with concussion. Means that Marnus Labuschagne is a concussion replacement, and he could potentially bat for him in the Australian second innings later on today. But after Smith was hit on the head by that Jofra Archer bouncer yesterday, he was asked how he's been feeling today.
Started to feel a little bit of a headache coming on last night, probably as the adrenaline, I guess, probably got out of my system. So started to feel a bit of a headache come on last night, and was able to get a good sleep in, but woke up feeling a little bit groggy and with a headache again. So yeah, had some tests done, and upon some, I guess, further assessments, deemed to be a mild concussion, unfortunately, and have been ruled out for the rest of this test match. You know, I think it's the right decision. I'd obviously love to be out there trying to keep performing and try and help Australia win another test match, but I think the right decision's been made, and I'll obviously be monitored very closely over the next few days with a pretty quick turnaround in between test matches, and I'm hopeful that I can make a recovery and be okay for that.
That's Steve Smith speaking to Cricket Australia, but as he says, that short turnaround, as the Cricket Australia statement said earlier on today, is not in his favour. Third test getting underway at Headingley on Thursday. Latest score here at Lord's, 202 for 5. England lead by 210 runs, and we've got another 56.4 overs left in the day.
I probably shouldn't have used the phrase meandering towards a draw before Ben Stokes hit 2 6s, Ellie.
It's never meandering anywhere when Ben Stokes is out in the middle, Steve.
Good point, very good point. So Ben Stokes, 80 not out. Will he get his 100? Will England put Australia in and try and force a late result? We'll find out. We'll be back at Lord's throughout the afternoon on 5 Live. Premier League Sunday, Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 0 at half-time. In our opening commentary of the day, we'll take you to Stamford Bridge soon ahead of Chelsea against Leicester City. There's live Diamond League athletics today as well. We now know who will run in the men's 100-metre final. We can join our correspondent Mike Costello and European and Commonwealth 400-metre medalist Alison Kirbishley. Mike, Adam Jamili, very impressive.
Yeah, no meandering from Jamili today. 10.08 seconds, fastest of the qualifiers. Relatively not the quickest time, but he's got some very quick athletes in behind him in difficult sprinting conditions here. The final coming up at around 3:30. Underway at the moment, the women's long jump, and this features Katarina Johnson-Thompson for Britain and Nafi Thiam of Belgium. They won silver and gold respectively at the European Championships in the heptathlon last year, expected to battle it out again at the World Championships in 6 weeks' time, and they're involved, Alison, in a high quality long jump competition here.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you wouldn't expect the two heptathletes to be taking top spots in the top three here, because there are some decent long jumpers in this field. Spanovic of Serbia is actually down in the second place position behind Thiam, who's bettered her Belgian record twice already. What an amazing 4 jumps she's already put together, and 6.86. That is impressive world long jumping. And Katarina Johnson-Thompson, a season's best for her, with 6.74, but 2 jumps left to see whether she can put a bit of pressure on her rival.
And another of Britain's World Championship medal hopes, Dina Asher-Smith, going in the women's 200 metres, the last race on the programme, at around 10-4.
Thanks very much, guys. There's also Super League action this afternoon. Hull KR host Wakefield Trinity, and Dave Woods is at the KCOM Stadium. But Dave, the game really doesn't matter in comparison to the story we just heard in our news bulletin there, the tragic news that Batley Bulldogs player Archie Bruce has died at the age of 20.
Yes, absolutely overshadows a lot of what we'll be watching this afternoon. Terrible story. A 20-year-old halfback made his debut from the interchange bench last night for Batley in their match at Toulouse, but sadly found dead in his hotel room, still in Toulouse this morning. There are no other details regarding the circumstances at this stage. The French authorities have begun an inquiry. The Batley players have delayed their return to England to help with that inquiry. The Rugby League Benevolent Fund are supporting the family, who've requested privacy, and it is just very, very sad.
Yeah, absolutely, and our thoughts are with the family of Archie Bruce today. In contrast to that, it really doesn't matter, but there is a game today, and it does have significance at the bottom of the table.
There is. We'll have a minute's silence, by the way, before this game in memory of Archie, but the bottom 4 clubs in Super League at the moment all have 18 points, and that includes these two, Hull Kingston Rovers and Wakefield. London also, who won at Catalan last night. Huddersfield, who are playing Castleford today. So this is a hugely significant afternoon. Whoever wins this one will edge towards safety. Only 3 matches of the regular season to go. Wakefield currently in the worst form. They've lost 10 of their last 11. They do have a slightly better points difference than the others as well, so that might be crucial. But these are nervy times all around for the 4 clubs involved.
That's Dave Woods. It's 5 Live Premier League Sunday with me, Steve Crossman. Chelsea against Leicester is our 4:30 commentary. Let's go to Stamford Bridge for the first time there. Alistair Bruce Ball with Pat Nevin. Good afternoon, chaps.
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Yeah, very good. Have you got your Frank Lampard handbook, Ali?
My Frank Lampard handbook. The book I have got in my hand is the Chelsea match programme, Steve, which is always interesting on a day like this. This is a big day for Frank Lampard, isn't it? I know he has been back to Stamford Bridge before as an opposition manager. He's already had a couple of games in charge. He's been in the position for a while. But this is the first competitive home game. There's going to be an incredibly warm welcome for him. The programme's just gone very simple and very classic. So we've got a headshot of Frank Lampard looking off camera, very smart, sort of cotton Oxford blue shirt, open at the neck, stubbly chin, smart haircut, and it doesn't even say Frank Lampard on the front. It doesn't say Super Frankie Lampard. It doesn't have his shirt number 8 for Chelsea. It just says Lampard. I'm going to very quickly just read you out a couple of comments from his notes as well. I see these notes as a space where I can address the fans directly because I feel I have a strong affiliation with the supporters here. That is a bit of an understatement. I'd like to think the fans will know what to expect from me, having seen the way I played, which is a strong work ethic. I have a passion for this club, and the first thing I want to instill into the squad, the passion for playing for Chelsea.
Doesn't need his name on the programme, Pat, does it? It will be in enough other parts of the stadium on flags and banners this afternoon.
the back of shirts and on everybody's lips all the time. There's a real excitement about the place. Everyone you talk to, they just want to be here for that moment where he walks out onto, out through that tunnel and not onto the pitch but to the side of it and stands up by that dugout. It is a massive moment for him. These fans around here will give him a lot of time to make mistakes, a lot of time to get the team right, and if it's mid-table for a wee while, they'll put up with that as well. And I would say the club, they will really push it and give him a lot of time. They may give him as much as 2 games. Actually, that's not fair. They will stick by him. They know they have to change. They know they have to give young kids a chance. They're going to do that. While he's doing it, as long as he does it in an exciting way, I think they'll put up with it.
Yeah. Chelsea against Leicester is our second commentary from 4:30. We'll be back with Ali and Pat Nevin ahead of the game when they're done at Bramall Lane. We'll also be joined by Robbie Savage to build up to that one just after 4 o'clock. But the players are back on the pitch at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 0. Your commentary team, Clinton Morrison, and as Annie's song rings out, Conor McNamara.
They played it again. Start to the game and at half-time as they do at Bramall Lane. They love a bit of Annie's song. Sun is shining brightly, still awaiting the opening goal. David McGoldrick should have scored before the break. One enforced substitution in that first half, but no further changes over half-time. So Sheffield United with Dean Henderson in goal. 3 central defenders, Chris Basham, John Egan and Jack O'Connell. The 2 wing-backs/wingers are George Baldock and Enda Stevens. In midfield, Luke Freeman came on for the injured John Fleck. He's alongside Ollie Norwood and John Lundstrom as a central 3. And then Callum Robson with David McGoldrick as the front 2. Crystal Palace, Guaita in goal. He saved that McGoldrick chance. Back 4 of Joel Ward, Martin Kelly, Scott Dan and Patrick Van Arnold. MacArthur and Milivojevic in the middle of the midfield. Townsend wide right. Max Meyer a little bit more to the left-hand side. And then Christian Benteke and Wilfried Zaha up top. We mentioned a few times Clinton Morrison in the first half how conservative Crystal Palace were. Do you think they'll come out of their shells a little bit more this second half, or will Roy Hodgson think, okay, this is working, let's keep doing it?
Yeah, I think he'll think it's working because it's an away game. But you feel like if you go for it, you could get a chance there. You get Zaha, Benteke, Townsend into the game more. I think they'll have a great chance of winning it. Obviously, at the other end, they have to keep it tight. So I think he'll be looking to his bench to cut certain players like Schluck to come on and make an impact.
Sheffield United playing from right to left as we look down in the second half. Enda Stevens down below us, playing it infield through Jack O'Connell and Ollie Norwood. Back to O'Connell again, wearing the yellow boots. And McGoldrick here dropping deep from his striking position back to the halfway line, encouraging Jack O'Connell to come on one of these overlapping runs we discussed in the first half. That's a great first touch by Freeman. Into the pillar, shoots, save, back out to Lundstrom, who scores! John Lundstrom puts Sheffield United in front in their first Premier League game at home for 12 years. Luke Freeman did so well in the build-up there. Guaita parried it, and Lundstrom following up crashed the ball to the back of the net.
It was great play from Freeman. He done ever so well. I don't think Guaita needs to get that hand out. The ball's going away for a goal kick. But as a goalie, you don't know what's behind him. He does it. But he's in the right place at the right time, Lundstrom. And it's a really good finish into the back of the net. And it's what Sheffield United deserve. But Freeman's working. It's really good. He's brought up added pace into this game. And they thoroughly deserve to be 1-0 up.
He didn't score a single goal last season in the Championship. But come at the hour, come at John Lundstrom for Sheffield United. Their first home goal of the campaign back in the top flight. Sheffield United 1, Crystal Palace 0. We asked if Palace needed to change. I think they might have to do now.
100%. It's been too flat. They need to get forward more. Everything's slow, the build-up slow. And this is why players like Wilfried Zaha get frustrated at Palace, because they want better. He wants better, and he demands better, and he deserves that. But credit to Sheffield United and Lundstrom, because I look on a lot of the sites of Sheffield United sites, and fans are always criticising him should he be in the team. That's why he didn't play a lot last season, but he must have come back this season, had a good pre-season, and thoroughly deserves his goal this afternoon.
John Lundstrom came through Everton's academy, never made a senior appearance for them. He has just got a Premier League goal at Sheffield United, who drew away from home in the opening weekend. Now have their noses in front as they hunt their first win back in the Premier League, and that wouldn't be a bad start if they could go unbeaten through the first 2 games. Long way to go, of course, for Roy Hodgson to try and plot how Crystal Palace could get back into this one. Henda Stevens takes the throw in down the left channel, and it's put out for another throw in by Joel Ward. And the atmosphere, which has been brimming away right since kickoff, has just gone up another few notches. It's bouncing in here now. McGoldrick, he'll be relieved, having missed the chance in the first half. Well, Sheffield United are 1-0 up now anyway. It's a decent turn on the edge of the penalty area by Henda Stevens, who gets involved again. And then a chance to cross, and there's appeals for a handball because it struck somewhere in the upper body of James McArthur, but the referee was happy it wasn't his hand, and free kick is given for a foul on Wilfried Zaha, and the crowd are up in arms, absolutely up in arms. Free kick to Palace.
Yeah, they will be up in arms. It's because it's Zaha, and he's it is a foul. Egan just catches him a bit late, but I can understand why. Zaha was taking his time and he bought the foul, but he's like that. He's always going to get fans on the edge of their seats and that. But you can see it is a foul. He's gone into the back of him, but just move the ball quicker and then you won't get them sort of tackles.
Wilfried Zaha has become the pantomime villain here. John Egan crashing into him. Palace have taken the free kick. They play it up towards Christian Benteke. Pushing the back this time by Egan. Another foul given against the Irishman. Free kick to Crystal Palace as they search a way back into this game. Sheffield United 1, Crystal Palace 0. From the neutrals' point of view, it was a game that needed a goal. We've now got one, and it's intriguing to see where this game goes next. Milivojevic prepares to take the free kick. Palace, who drew in the opening weekend against Everton, they won't want to lose here away from home against one of the newly promoted clubs. Milivojevic floats it in delicately, flicked on by Scott Dan, headed away by Jack O'Connell, only as far as Van Aanholt, but he's challenged well in the air by Luke Freeman, who puts it out for a Crystal Palace throw. There was a touch in the build-up to the goal from Luke Freeman that if he tried it 100 times he wouldn't do it any better. He just put acceleration but without putting it too far in front. It was a perfectly weighted touch.
Yeah, it was a great touch, and that touch made the goal, because then he done ever so well. It's a cross-come shot really. Guaita should know what's behind him, but as goalkeepers he got his hand to it, and as I said, Lundstrom did ever so well, but Freeman's come on with a point to prove, to say I want to stay in this first 11 because he's been really good since he's come on.
Luke Freeman, who was briefly Sheffield United's record signing this summer before they made other purchases, setting up John Lundstrom to score, and Sheffield United now have a lead to defend, but I can't imagine Chris Wilder will want them to sit back on their heels. He'll want to go and make it 2-0. 51 minutes on the clock. Crystal Palace have it at the back. It's played by Scott Dan onto Max Meyer, back through Van Aanholt, back to Scott Dan again. The defence has seen a lot of possession for Palace, because if the midfield don't have an easy pass, they always give it back to them. Here comes Wilfried Zaha slaloming through midfield, gives it out to Joel Ward on the right hand side. Here comes the cross, looking for Benteke, needed more elevation, headed away by Chris Basham. Palace hold on to it. Townsend shoots, took a deflection, parried away by the goalkeeper. Dean Henderson, who's put on a baseball cap, he looks like Clinton Morrison down there. He parries it away.
Yeah, brilliant. He does look like, but Clinton Morrison wouldn't have been able to make that save. But no, it was good. Yeah, it was a deflection. He saw it really well and got a good strong hand. I thought the ball was going to fall to Benteke there, but no,
Here's
good play
McArthur,
from Palace.
Better from Palace, but Freeman makes the interception. Always giving it away again to Zaha. That's dangerous. Good challenge by John Egan. Just as Zaha was about to shoot, Egan put his heel in the way of it and deflected the ball. Not quite to safety yet, but Sheffield United do get it away. Left-footed, good old-fashioned up and under from John Lundstrom. Back into the Palace end of the field. Sheffield United 1, Crystal Palace 0. 5 Live Premier League Sunday from the BBC. Townsend midway inside the Sheffield United half. Back into the midfield to McArthur. Over into the sunshine to Patrick Van Aanholt. This is McArthur again, left side of the midfield, midway inside the Sheffield United half. Good pressing from Sheffield United. Lundstrom gets right in the face of Van Aanholt. Is that going out of play? It's not. Linesman's flag stays down. Sheffield United hesitated. Palace didn't. Townsend shoots, took a deflection, bounces calmly in front of the goalkeeper Henderson.
Nice, good play. Palace have responded, and that's what you want. It shouldn't take a goal for a team to respond, but they have responded in a good way. You can see Zaha and Townsend now getting on the ball, making things happen. So Sheffield United for the next 10-15 minutes, you're always vulnerable after you score a goal. They want to keep it tight.
Here's the stat for you. Sheffield United have never won a Premier League game on a Sunday. So that's a record that could be about to topple. As Robinson is down and he's going to need some treatment. Well, we've got a break in play here. Let's nip back to the Ashes, Eleanor Oldroyd.
And Ben Stokes is just 3 runs away from a Test century here on this final day of the second Ashes Test match. England are 231 for 5. Ben Stokes on 97. Quick word from Mark Ramprakash, former England batsman, about this innings here, which could potentially be putting England in mind of a declaration.
Oh, very much so. It's a huge positive for England. Ben Stokes in form, and he's played a really solid Test match innings, but he's showing all his improvisations now. He hit Nathan Lyon twice over deep mid-wicket for 6. He's just swatted Josh Hazlewood for 4 down towards the tavern. So he's in good form. It's good for England, and he's on 98 not out.
Yeah, just cut off close to the boundary, but Ben Stokes in fantastic form here. Johnny Bairstow's on 21. They have put on 70 runs together already between these two. 232 for 5, England.
Thanks very much, Eleanor. Coverage continues on 5 Live Sports Extra. Still a delay in play here with Callum Robinson down injured on the pitch at Bramall Lane. Reminder that Chelsea against Leicester is our next Premier League commentary. Alistair Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin already in position at Stamford Bridge for that one, and 6:06 coming up later on. 6:30 start for Robbie Savage and Sam Quek after the live football is over at Chelsea. Big day for Frank Lampard, particularly after the start he's had in the new Chelsea job. Mind you, it's not been easy games for him to get into things. I wonder how Chelsea are going to fare today. Robinson's not going to be able to continue here. Callum Robinson, £8 million summer signing from Preston. He's going to go off. And another of the new signings, Ollie McBurney, the Scottish forward, is about to come on. Scored 22 goals in the Championship last season for Swansea.
Yeah, he's a goal scorer. He works ever so hard. Chances will be restricted in the Premier League because you don't get that much chances, but you give him half a chance, 9 times out of 10 he puts it in the back of the net. So different problem now for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, he is a handful physically. He puts himself about Ollie McBurney, and it'll be him and McGoldrick in attack now for Sheffield United. Long clearance from the goalkeeper Dean Henderson as we get back underway after that injury delay. Header from John Egan up towards McBurney. First clash with Martin Kelly, and he gets the better of him, but then Townsend wins it back on the deck. Van Aanholt sends it down the left flank. He was looking for Zaha. Good sliding challenge by George Baldock. Puts it out for a throw into Crystal Palace, who trailed 1-0 here. A goal scored by John Lundstrom early stages of the second half.
When you're watching games like this, Connor, I've been to a lot of Palace games. You look at players and you look at someone like Max Meyer. Last season, you give him the benefit of doubt. He's just come to the Premier League. But this season, you have to start grabbing the football games by the scruff of the neck. And you want to see more from him. That's what you want to see. He's a talented individual. But he only plays on the fringes of things. And when you're in the Premier League, you need to deliver week after week after week. And now he has to start coming to the party.
So why is he in the team ahead of, say, I don't know, Jeffrey Schlupp, say, on that left side?
I think he's ahead in there because the first game of the season he had a really half decent game against Everton and created a lot of chances, and Jeffrey Schlupp was injured. But when Jeffrey's 100%, he'll play because he gives you that dynamic power of running forward, and he does his backtracking as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if not before long you see Jeffrey Schlupp come into this game.
It's a few midfield choices for Roy Hodgson. Cheku Kouyaté is on the bench, from a West Ham player. James McCarthy, who's joined from Everton and has a terrible luck with injuries. You'd certainly wish him well if he can get a run in this Crystal Palace team now, having moved to London. Connor Wickham and Jordan Ayew are the striking options available. Gary Cahill's on the bench as the defensive option. But that goal scored by Lundstrom, the first goal that Palace have conceded in the Premier League this season. Possession with the Sheffield United goalkeeper Dean Henderson. Plays it right-footed straight down the centre of the pitch. McBurney gets a touch in it. That puts pressure on Martin Kelly, and out comes the goalkeeper. McBurney already making his presence felt.
Definitely, but one straight ball, you can't let the centre forward bring that down. Scott Dan and Kelly have to get tighter to McBurney, but he's putting himself about, and that's what he will do. You want, as a new striker, you always want to try and get that first goal, but also you want to put yourself about and work hard, and then you'll win the fans over.
He's something of a throwback, Ollie McBurney. He looks of a different era.
Steve Claridge, with the way the shin pads are. Exactly what I'm thinking, Steve Claridge.
Claridge would love that if he's listening, by the way. Claridge never looked that athletic. No, he's got the socks rolled down. He's tall. He's not Peter Crouch tall, but he's tall. He just looks ungainly. He doesn't look like your typical footballer, big bushy beard as well.
Yeah, I totally get that. But he scores goals, so that's the most important thing.
He absolutely does. He's prowling around down there. He's like a coiled spring. He wants to get involved and made a few appearances for Swansea the year they went down in the Premier League, but I think he will see this as the proper beginning of his top flight career, and he wants to make the right impression. Sheffield United attack down the right hand side. McGoldrick in pursuit. Dan beats him to it, rolls it back to the goalkeeper. Gaeta takes a touch and jeers from the crowd, as you always get. They want a sort of an Adrian moment from yesterday, but keeper manages to get it away on this occasion. Here's Enda Stevens for Sheffield United. Infield to Ollie Norwood. Oh, what a ball. Brilliant ball. That's travelled 70 yards. Right into the path of George Baldock. Into the penalty area for Sheffield United. Van Arnold's trying to hold him up. Good defending by Van Arnold. And Baldock plays it off in for a corner. What a pass from Ollie Norwood.
Great pass. The way he zings it, and you can see it, he's like fizzes it across the grass. It's a great ball in between Van Aanholt and Scott Dan. Van Aanholt does well to stop Baldock getting across him, but Norwood's been excellent this afternoon.
So corner to Sheffield United, who lead Crystal Palace by 1-0 here. Busy penalty area waits. Luke Freeman has placed the ball for the delivery to Sheffield United players inside the 6-yard box. It's played in towards that area. Header, well, I think a punch just in front of a header. Dean Henderson got his fist to it to get it away. O'Connell plays on inside the penalty area, and then some crossed wires because John Egan opened his legs there. He allowed the ball through. He thought a teammate was behind him. There wasn't, and Crystal Palace were able to get it away. But Sheffield United regained possession. The goal scorer, Lundstrom, plays a long cross-field pass, instantly controlled by David McGoldrick. Lovely first touch. He's 5 yards outside the penalty area. Norwood is behind him, plays it out to the right hand side to Baldock. Sheffield United crowd get on their feet. Here's the delivery. John Egan is straight forward for the set piece, but he can't get his head to it, and all Townsend can do is put it out for a throw.
It's all Sheffield United, and they look good, really good going forward. They're comfortable on the ball. As I said many a times, people might say and keep going on about him, but Norwood is dictating his football match. He plays a simple pass, but a simple pass is sometimes the best pass, and he always does that. He's dominated the midfield for me this afternoon.
Sheffield United are doing well. Throw in, left hand side, Enda Stevens to take, gives it short to Freeman, and then gets it back again. Stevens plays it infield and Basham back to the goalkeeper. Sun blaring down on Bramall Lane. It's been a sparkling Sunday so far. Poor clearance by Chris Basham, giving it to Townsend on the halfway line. Freeman tries to win it off him. Townsend's got a knock to the head, but he played on to release the pass. Referee's got a play advantage, even though Townsend's down with something of a head injury. I think the referee is happy it's not too serious. Zaha holds it up right by the touchline, and eventually the ball goes out for a throw in. But I understand the referee's thing there. I mean, you stop for head injuries. He's had a look at what it was. He saw that he's not flat out. He's sort of up on his knees, and he said, I think Townsend would want me to play on here because Palace have the ball. But it's tricky call.
Listen, if you can play the ball after you've got a knock in your head, you can carry on playing. It's not major. If you go down straight away with a clash of heads, then so he's probably thinking he's probably got a flick in the eye or something. Carry on. So the referee's in his right. He made the right decision there. They get terrible stick, the ref, but that was good refereeing.
No, they do. I mean, it's certain things in football have to be absolute, and certain things are judgment. And what the referees are advised to hold play if it's a head injury that they're concerned about. But the concerned about thing is the key. I mean, if a player is faking a head injury, they don't have to stop it. But in that case, it's clearly a blow to the head. But Townsend is going to be okay. He's getting some treatment. And eventually the ball went out of play. It went out in the end off Baldock's foot. So it will be a Palace throw, but I'll be completely shocked if they don't just give possession back to Sheffield, which is a funny one actually, because Palace had possession.
I think
Zaha was holding it under his boot, but it wasn't over the line. He was kind of holding it up.
Yeah, I can't see Joe Ward giving it back unless because Zaha had it out, and then Enda Stevens was playing clever and then just kicked it out. Yeah. So me personally, I wouldn't give it back unless I've made a decision there with Enda Stevens to say, are you going to kick it back to us? If he says and then he doesn't do it, hopefully it would all be going off on the pitch.
Love this side of you were seeing today, Clinton Morrison. You said you wouldn't shake hands with your teammate if he gave a bad thing. Actually, more of that in a moment. Big news for Eleanor Oldroyd.
And you can hear the applause around Lords for Ben Stokes, who's just acknowledging the ovation that he's getting for his 7th Test match. 100, 2 sixes and 10 fours and 160 balls. Puts the England lead up to 244 there, 236 for 5. Mark Ramprakash sitting alongside me. We thought England might declare at this point, but they haven't yet.
Well, it's a wonderful 100 for Ben Stokes. There's always a proud moment when an England player reaches a milestone at Lords, the home of cricket, and his name will go up on that board. And every player is so proud when they do that. But in the context of this game, Ben Stokes has given England a bit of acceleration, getting up to a very healthy lead of a 244 currently. And we think that as Johnny Bairstow unleashes a slog sweep over deep mid-wicket up towards the mound stand, it's 6 runs, a huge hit off Nathan Lyon, which takes England to 250 lead, and we expect a declaration imminently.
Mark, thank you very much indeed. 242 for 5. Every time we put Mark Ramprakash on the mic, Connor, England hit a 6. We've got 2 from Ben Stokes and then just 1 from Johnny Bairstow, so we need him with us more often, I think.
Understood.
Absolutely. 242 for 5. Lead is 250.
We'll skip you next time, Ellie. We'll go straight to him. We get more action. Now, Clinton Morrison, they didn't give the throw-in back. You were right.
I told you. I know this Crystal Palace team. They're not going to give it back. Zaha was the one who was on the line. That's why. And Ender Stevens played clever and kicked it out before. So you can see why they didn't give it back.
Right, change has been made. We mentioned Max Meyer need to do a bit more. He's gone off. Jeffrey Schlupp has come on and he's placed the former Leicester City man. We're seeing this side of you, this competitive side today, Clinton. You wouldn't shake hands with a teammate who did the poor free kick. You're not giving back throw-ins to the opposition if it wasn't agreed how the ball was put out. There's a code, the Clinton Morrison code.
When I'm on that pitch, I want to win, and I'm a winner, and that's all I want to do. Off the pitch, I'm a nice guy. Well, some people think I'm a nice guy.
We'll be the judge of that.
You'll be the judge of that after today.
1-0 to Sheffield United. Great to have Clinton Morrison with us here on 5 Live. And Sheffield United hoping that this could be a real kickstart to their season if they can get a win in their first home game back in the Premier League against a Crystal Palace side who've, since they were promoted themselves, they've always steered clear of the relegation trouble come the end of the season. 2014 they came up. Here is McGoldrick looking for support from Freeman. Between them, they've held on to possession despite the best intentions of MacArthur. MacArthur nibbles back again, helped out by Milivojevic, but they can't get the ball off Sheffield United. Norwood, incredible how the goal inspires confidence, and Sheffield United brimming with confidence now. George Baldock, crossing position on the right-hand side, loves to roam up from that right wing-back position. Back into the midfield again. Basham is up there. That's a rough challenge. It's a frustrated challenge. Palace don't like the way that Sheffield United were toying with them there, and Milivojevic's gone straight through the back and given away a free kick.
It's a stupid tackle. You're the captain, Milivojevic. He's not going nowhere. Just because beforehand, a minute before, you think you should have got the free kick. You shouldn't have. McGoldrick won the ball. It frustrates me watching it.
He was quite a lucky boy last weekend, Milivojevic. I was looking at the stats. Last season, he committed 9 fouls in the game against Everton. There was only 16 fouls committed by Palace players. He did 9 of them. That was 5 more than any other player in the Premier League. He was absolutely milling in, and quite probably fortunate not to get a yellow card or sent off. But that was a "you are now taking the mickey and I'm going to foul you" challenge from Milivojevic. Here comes the free kick, played in hopefully by Sheffield United. Comes to Lundstram on the edge of the penalty area. Acrobatic header away by Joel Ward. Sheffield United will regain possession on the halfway line, and Ender Stephen turns and rolls it back to Dean Henderson, Sheffield United goalkeeper, who, I'm struggling to think of a difficult save he's had to make in the game, Clinton.
Nothing. You just think of maybe the Andros Townsend one in the second half where it was deflected, but it was a comfortable save, one you expect Henderson to make.
Yeah, the sting was taken out of it. Palace need to do better. This is McGoldrick. On to Freeman on the left for Sheffield United. Last touch off Townsend. Townsend plays ball boy because he doesn't want any time wasting here. And he's been frustrated because Ender Stevens is jogging over very slowly and says, "I'll take this when I'm good and ready." Encouragement being drummed up by Sheffield United fans. Stevens takes the throw in to Freeman. He's been really good since coming on, the former QPR back. Double Ronaldinho by Ender Stevens. Love that, by the way. Little drag back round the world, and he did it twice before he sent the cross in. Bit of Brazilian in the Irishman.
That was nice. I love it. The Irishman producing those tricks as well. We love it.
Basham 10 yards into the Sheffield United, and that little manoeuvre there more than anything else sums up that Sheffield United now really enjoying themselves in this game.
They're playing with fuller confidence, Connor. You can see there the wing back Ender Stevens doing drag backs and all sorts. And Norwood with another
by Norwood. Oh, he's put it just too far in front of Baldock, but they're trying things. They're trying ambitious things, Sheffield United. Crystal Palace have got to be wary because this game could become 2-0.
It could become 2-0. And as I keep talking about Norwood, he is bossing this football match. His passing is a joke. Ridiculously good. He's a striker's dream.
So, Palace preparing to make a change. They need fresh ideas. Pushed by Zaha, maybe on John Egan there. Play on, says the referee. Egan gets back to his feet, doesn't make much of it. Sheffield United crowd with the ones up in arms. This is Kelly on the halfway line into Scott Dan. Crystal Palace come through the middle of the midfield. In the Scottish League Cup, East 5-0, Rangers 1. Jermaine Defoe has scored after 26 minutes there. Basham could have cleared away, but allows it to go out of play, knowing it would be a Sheffield United throw. Sheffield United still lead Palace by 1-0. Palace about to make a change. While they do that, England have declared, Eleanor Oldroyd.
Yes, they have at 258 for 5, with Ben Stokes still there on 115 and Johnny Bairstow on 30. It means that Australia need 266 of 48 overs. Mark Ramprakash, what an exciting afternoon we've got ahead of us potentially.
Yes, we came this morning with all 3 results still possible, and it's very much still the case. You know, England will fancy their chances here, certainly to give Australia a bloody nose. It would have to bowl and catch brilliantly to get a win here, but Australia under real pressure. No Stephen Smith in their lineup, and so far in this Ashes series, the Australian batting lineup have been so reliant on Stephen Smith, so that's something important psychologically for England to hang on to.
267 the target in 48 overs. England have declared on 258 for 5.
Thank you very much. Here at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United leading Crystal Palace by 1-0. That goal scored by John Lundstrom. This is Luke Freeman in possession for the home side, trying to run down the left wing, challenged by MacArthur, goes out for a Sheffield United throw. The change made by Palace, interesting one. James McCarthy, terrible luck with injuries in recent seasons at Everton. He's gone off to try and rejuvenate himself at Palace. He's come on in place of Andros Townsend. So the 2 wide players have been taken off. Meyer and Townsend have gone off for Roy Hodgson.
I'm not a manager, but that baffles me. I don't understand why you're taking off Andros Townsend. He's one of the main attacking sources, and just bringing on another midfielder light for light. Just go light for light and take off MacArthur and bring on McCarthy if that's what you want to do. Strange choice of substitution for me.
Corner to Sheffield United. Oliver Norwood to take, once of Manchester United. Never played for them in the Premier League, but here he is in the top flight for Sheffield United. Plays it in, punched away by the goalkeeper, only as far as Basham. Back into the mix. Up goes O'Connell, header on target, good save. Guaita's got to get from one post back to the other. Got his body in the way. The header was on target from Jack O'Connell. It's put out by the Spanish keeper for another corner.
Yeah, good keeping from Guaita. Again, as you said, he run to punch the ball, and then it was back in by Basham. O'Connell had a good, comfortable save at the near post.
Ollie Norwood's latest delivery, more elevation this time towards the back post, and headed out and by the corner flag, but on the throw-in side of it. So that will be a throw-in to Sheffield United. They remain on the attack. They have 18.5 minutes of normal time to play. Latest in Super League, Hull KO 0, Wakefield Trinity 14. We've got Chelsea against Leicester will start at 4:30. We'll get team news in just a moment from there. An attacking throw in here for Sheffield United. Let's make sure we don't miss anything as Baldock takes the throw into Lundstrom, and another challenge. Alistair, what are the teams?
Frank Lampard's made one change from the Chelsea team that lost that Super Cup final on penalties in midweek. Mason Mount, the 20-year-old, back into midfield. He started at Old Trafford last week. He starts today as well. Kovacic drops to the bench. Giroud starts up front again. One change for Leicester in the back four. Ben Chilwell has a slight hip injury. Christian Fuchs comes in.
Thanks, Ellie. Looking forward to listening to Alistair, Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin on the way home from Stamford Bridge. There's been an altercation off the pitch here. Players have come running from everywhere. A spectator is being restrained. I think somebody tried to invade the pitch and attack one of the players. It's a spectator being restrained, and a player has certainly been struck. And these are scenes we don't want to see at Bramall Lane. There was the incident of the week when a celebrating Liverpool fan hurt the goalkeeper Adrian. Here, someone has come onto the field of play, and I'm not quite sure that happened out of my vision, but James McCarthy, who's only recent on as a substitute, he was involved in it. Clinton Morrison, any ideas what happened?
It was a bad tackle from Bulldog on McCarthy. He went down and it was McCarthy and Bulldog squaring up to each other. I didn't actually see the fan because I was too busy watching them two. I don't know if the fan did get over. I think the stewards are in there, but maybe a fan was coming around to do. But it was McCarthy and Bulldog, and because it was a late tackle on McCarthy. He's just come back from injury. You don't want tackles like that. He's been out a long time.
Yellow card has been shown to both players, I think. We're getting to see a replay of it here. Right, yeah, so ball that went in. It was a little bit, not the worst shot you've ever seen, but okay, Palace won't have liked that. But it incensed one of the Crystal Palace supporters who jumped into the sort of little photographer's paddock. I don't know if he made it over the advertising board, but tried to get involved. A whole host of players ran over. It's all calmed down now. Anyway, the bottom line is McCarthy's okay after a late challenge by Bullock, but I think you're right, Clayton. It's the history of injuries that particular player had. That's what infused that situation. I think to be fair, Bullock had every right to go in and try and win the ball, as McCarthy tries to get it here in midfield, but he's beaten to it by Luke Freeman on the halfway line. Sheffield United lead Palace by 1-0. Header up into the air by Enda Stevens to control it. Nudges it back infield towards Ollie McBurney. He can't control. Milivojevic with a good calming header. Down to Scott Dan. Palace trying to play their way out of trouble here for the final third, and they've done well. Joel Ward brings it up to the halfway line, forward towards MacArthur, and he's deemed to have been fouled by Ollie Norwood. Free kick to Palace.
It is a foul. People getting it's a foul. O'Connell's late. Just stand up. James McArthur's got nowhere to go. As soon as you feel contact, you're gonna go down. And the game's getting a bit spicy now. You can see it. It's getting really spicy.
It's tribal here at Bramall Lane. Doesn't matter whether there's a foul or not. People are roaring for it. Any decision that's been made. By the way, on behalf of the Commentators Union, MacArthur and McCarthy, both in the midfield for Palace, that is going to be fun this season. That's going to lead to a few tongue twisters. Here is McCarthy, James McCarthy, floating it into the Sheffield United penalty area. McBurney's back there using his height to defensive good use, and he's involved again, McBurney, and that is a foul in Norwood. And now the big roar of retribution from the Sheffield United fans. They get a free kick, and Palace have to turn in their heels and retreat. Still Sheffield United 1, Crystal Palace 0, quarter of an hour to go.
And it's a foul. It is Milivojevic. He's not been at his best today. I think he's a terrific player, but it's like he's losing his head doing silly tackles, and he's a captain. He's got to lead by example.
So free kick to Sheffield United. Dean Henderson comes way out of his penalty area to take it. Palace have been forced back. Clock ticking down, but still plenty enough time if Palace can get the best out of Wilfried Zaha in particular. Free kick is played by the goalkeeper up towards McBurney, well dealt with by Martin Kelly. And then Scott Dan was being put under pressure by Goldrick, but did enough to get it away. Good slide in by McBurney. His work rate's been brilliant since coming on. Sliding in on Joel Ward and putting it out for a Crystal Palace throw, pinning them back in that right back position.
And that's how you win over the fans. If you're not scoring goals, work hard for the team and fans will love you.
Good work by Jeffrey Schlupp on the halfway line. Appeals for a handball by the Sheffield United fans by MacArthur. Referee said no to that, but then says it was a foul on Lundstrom, and that is going to be on O'Connell, Jack O'Connell, and that is going to be a free kick to Sheffield United. That one goal has given them that suit of armour, if you like. They feel a bit bulletproof at the moment. Their body language is so confident. The goal by John Lundstrom, early stages in this second half. O'Connell takes his time over the free kick. Now floated in towards the quarter flag on the left-hand side. McBurney and McGoldrick both canter after it. It bounces out, but McBurney turns and applauds the free kick. That's the kind of ball he wants to charge into the opposition's final third after. Urgency for Palace. Great to runs across to place the ball on the edge of the 6-yard box for the goal kick. What do Palace need to do, Clinton, for the equaliser?
Score a goal, don't they? But no, that's too simple, that is. It's too easy. They need to get back passing like they did. They had a spell, 5-10 minute spell, just after Sheffield United score, and they were creating chances, but they've just not played with enough pace in the team. But you've got to give credit to Sheffield United. I think they've defended, they've been on the front foot, and this crowd have helped them massively this afternoon.
Cultured touch from Ollie Norwood, draws applause in the midfield. Freeman with a little flick, and then Kelly challenges McGoldrick to put it out for a throw-in to Sheffield United. They work their way into the Crystal Palace half. Roy Hodgson having a word with some of his backroom staff, plunging his hands into his pockets. 1-0 down, away from home. Palace, who had such a good away form in the Premier League last season. This is McGoldrick near the corner flag. Sheffield United attacking on the left-hand side. 2 defenders around him. Tries to wriggle through the middle of them. Joel Ward gets it off him, clears it away, and that will be a Sheffield United throw. And it's been some time since Palace have been anywhere near the Sheffield United penalty area. Benteke's frustrated. He now plays ball boy. Feels that Sheffield United are taking too long, and there's a bit of a comedy moment because Benteke thought the throw-in was about 40 yards away from where it actually was. So he was only delaying time even further. Throw-in taken towards Freeman. He plays it off Ward for a corner. Sheffield United remain on the attack.
It's all Sheffield United. This is comfortable for Sheffield United. Palace don't look like they're going to score a goal this afternoon. It's been all Sheffield United. They've dominated the second half. Thoroughly deserve to be leading at the moment.
Just noticed in the crowd, they had a close-up of the Crystal Palace fans, and one of our BBC colleagues was in there. I recognised him. Nick Dixon was in the crowd on the screen. Here's a header over the top, and that goes out for, is it another corner? No, it's going to be a goal kick. Goal kick to Crystal Palace, and they need to get on with it here. We have got 11 minutes of normal time to go. It was McBurney who was challenging for that, and I'll tell you what, that looked like a push on McBurney.
Yeah, by Jeffrey Sloop. And also it was a corner. It looked like McBurney headed it onto Sloop's head.
And by the way, I think I've heard a lot this weekend is, so why did VAR not look at that?
Is that because
VAR is looking at everything all the time. It's only when VAR decides to take an action that we get to hear about it, unless they're overturning a decision made by the referee. But the referee felt that was fine. VAR looked at it, they think it's fine. The game continues. It's not that they're not looking at it. Ball goes off Freeman, I thought, last touch. No, he was being fouled. So free kick to Sheffield United, some 15 yards inside the Crystal Palace half. Palace not at the races at the moment, Clinton.
No, they're not at the races, and they're struggling massively. They look flat and everything. This is where you need your leaders and your characters to get the team going. At the moment, it's all Sheffield United.
Enda Stevens has possession left-hand side for Sheffield United. Back into his own half, back through Jack O'Connell, all the way back to the goalkeeper. And that just kills a bit of time. Straight down the middle from Dean Henderson. And it skids away out to the right wing and eventually trickles out for a throw-in. So Palace pinned back in again into the final 10 minutes in the sunshine at Bramall Lane. They'll enjoy this if they can hold on for the win. The newly promoted side. I was at Norwich yesterday. Great scenes for the Canaries getting that win. Back in the top flight at home. It'll be similar here for Sheffield United, who've got Crystal Palace today, Leicester here at home next Saturday, Blackburn here at home in the League Cup. So 3 home games in a row. They'll try to build this place into a fortress for the tough challenges that will inevitably come over the course of the campaign. But they've shown a resilience today, a sturdiness, some flair when needed, but mainly you would say this is a very well-drilled team, and Chris Wilder's side are not overawed by this step up to the Premier League.
No, definitely. You got to win your home games to survive in the Premier League, and they look good. They do. Sheffield United look really good.
Free kick to Crystal Palace, midway inside the Sheffield United half, taken quickly by substitute Jeffrey Schlupp. Van Aanholt clips it into Benteke, might have handled it as he leaned forward there to chest it down. Play on, says the referee. By the way, Australia have started their second innings. Commentary and Sports Extra. They need 267 to win. Ball played into the penalty area. Benteke tries to get on the end of it. That goes out for a goal kick. And Crystal Palace are very much running out of time here now. Sheffield United 1, Crystal Palace 0. The goal from John Lundstrom early in the second half. Palace now bring on a striker, and it's James MacArthur, who's hooked from the midfield. Connor Wickham will come on up front. So they've got Zaha, Benteke and Wickham up front. Palace need a goal.
I think Zaha will come push over to the right. He doesn't look like he's happy coming out here, but because he wants to play through the middle. But yeah, he'll come on the right and then probably put Jeffrey Schlupp on the left and maybe go into a 4-4-2.
Connor Wickham, one of those players, bags of talent. When he's on it, he looks unstoppable. Injuries have been cruel to him over the seasons, but still a Premier League player, still with Crystal Palace. Can he get a late opportunity? Benteke's only had scraps to feed off. As Lundstrom in possession on the far side. Between him and McGoldrick, they managed to win a throw-in. Is that the man of the match they've awarded locally in the stadium here? Not sure. No, I think it's just something to do with player sponsorships. I don't know. But anyway, throw-in on the far side. I thought they were giving George Baldock man of the match, which, to be fair, I would have said, yeah, okay, he's played very well, but I would have been surprised.
I think it's Oliver Norwood's got man of the match.
Really good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's deserved. I think he's been very good in that engine room. He's added a few classy touches to A very hard-working performance from the Blades this afternoon. Ollie McBurney stretching for the ball. Spider-like legs trying to control it. Handball by Schlupp. Free kick to Sheffield United. Attacking position, not quite a shooting position, but attacking position.
Yeah, Palace are rattled. They can't even get none of their football going. Sheffield United are in their faces, frustrating them. Palace are giving away needless free kicks. It's really comfortable for Sheffield United, and they're the team that look like might get the second goal.
Palace have been poor today. Norwood stands over a free kick. His set-piece ability, such an important part of the Sheffield United machine. McBurney's waiting in there. McGoldrick is up. Back post is O'Connell. He's got a bit of space. Here comes the delivery, flicked on by McBurney. He was stooping away from goal as he headed it, and it cruises up in the air and then lands on the roof of the net. Just over 6 minutes of normal time to go. There'll be a bit added on for stoppages, but Crystal Palace need a dramatic turn in fortunes here if they're to nick a point away from home. It would be quite the smash and grab. Well, we've already seen in the Premier League this weekend such smash and grabs can happen. Schlupp from the middle of the midfield gives it back to Martin Kelly. It's Scott Dan, centre circle. Palace playing left to right as we look down, wearing all black. Joel Ward is the right back. No real pressure on him, but he doesn't see a cross into the middle, so he gives it short to Wilfried Zaha. Back again to Kelly, back to Zaha again. Can Crystal Palace create some space for their talisman? Here is Ward again. Support from Schlupp, who's popped up in a right wing position here. Back onto his favourite left boot. Trying to pick out Zaha into the penalty area. Taken off his toe by Luke Freeman. Freeman then lunges in late in a challenge, and Ward. Yeah, that wasn't a good challenge. I don't know if any malice was meant there, but he was very, very late, and the referee produces the yellow card. I don't think there can be many complaints from Luke Freeman.
No, it was the right decision. He's a bit late. He got there. Yeah, his studs were showing, and luckily Ward jumped out of the way. It's definitely a booking.
So free kick to Palace. Can they make it count? Milivojevic crosses from the right-hand side, slightly behind Schlupp. Back into the mix from Ward, but he played it straight to Baldock, whose clearance goes straight down the middle. This is Guaita, the Palace goalkeeper, goes way out of his penalty area. Plays a short pass to Joel Ward. Sheffield United refusing to be pinned back as McBurney surges forward in a high press. Baldock allows the ball to bounce under pressure here from Wickham, pushed to the back by Wickham. That was clever by Baldock, winning the free kick, relieving the pressure for Sheffield United. They still lead by 1-0. We're into the last 5 minutes now.
Always told the strikers, don't give the defenders a cheap free kick. That's a cheap free kick. He's going back to the corner flag. No need to foul him.
We told you Rangers were leading against East Fife in the Scottish League Cup. Dundee have taken the lead against Aberdeen. Danny Johnston with a goal just before half-time. Those games both started at 3 o'clock. This is a 2 o'clock kickoff at Bramall Lane. We're almost over. High leg on the edge of the penalty area. Joel Ward has kicked Ollie McBurney in the forehead, and the referee waves play on. They'll be looking at it in the background on VAR. I don't know if it was in the penalty area or was it just on the edge of it. That would have an impact as to how involved VAR would become. McBurney, was he stooping his header down for you, Clinton, or was it a high foot?
It was kind of a high foot, but he was stooping. It was a high foot, but he got the ball. He didn't get his head, but he actually got the ball. If he's caught contact, if McBurney puts his head in, he didn't put his head in. It's kind of like a shoulder. I think the ref made the right decision there.
Yeah. As James McCarthy comes across and has a little word with Ollie McBurney, but McBurney, who's had a swashbuckling display since coming on as a substitute. No Billy Sharp yet, by the way, and we spoke about him so much in the build-up. Last week they needed a goal, they brought him on. This week Chris Wilder now just wants to not concede.
I think that's the difference. When you need a goal, you'll bring Billy Sharp on because you know he'll get you that goal. And obviously when the game's like this and you're trying to defend the lead, you need someone to run in behind, hold the ball up, and that's not really Billy Sharp's game. So he's an out-and-out goal scorer. He can do it, but the players that are on there, he feels can do it better.
McBurney again, this time closing down Scott Dan. It was a throw-in, which was sent across the edge of the penalty area. Scott Dan probably didn't want it, and as it bounced in front of him, McBurney lunged. Here's Jack O'Connell down the other end defending for Sheffield United. His header's gone straight to Conor Wickham. Support on the left from Van Arnold. Can Palace get the late equaliser here? James McCarthy. He's played it straight into the referee, and the referee's going to bring it back. He's going to bring it back for the drop ball because he got too close to the action for the second time in the game.
It's twice the ref's done that. Twice.
Uncontested drop ball. Palace have it. McArthur. Ward now on the right-hand side. Sheffield United, having worked so hard, if they were to concede a late goal here, they would be heartbroken. Zaha tries to pirouette on the edge of the penalty area. Norwood comes in, pushing the back from Zaha. Extra large cheers to the crowd. They've been having a little ding-dong battle with Zaha all afternoon. Norwood winning the free kick, and Sheffield United are professionally seeing this out now.
Yeah, they are. They're doing it ever so well. They're going to bring on Phil Jagielka now and definitely solid it up.
This will be a popular move. A late change for Sheffield United, and the return of the prodigal son, Phil Jagielka, who was with Sheffield United all those years ago, went off and had a wonderful career at Everton. And here he is back, 37 years of age today. It's his birthday today, Phil Jagielka, and he has come on for the final 90 seconds of normal time. He's replaced McGoldrick.
He's a top pro, top lad, and he's back at his boyhood club, and Jagielka, really good player. I like him. He's still got a lot to offer in the Premier League.
Phil Jagielka, who only played 7 games for Everton last season, made almost 400 appearances for them over the years. Back this summer on a free transfer for Sheffield United. He was in the Sheffield United team that was relegated from the Premier League in 2007. He left and joined Everton, and now they're back in the Premier League. He's back with them again. It's a wonderful story. Van Aanholt into Milivojevic. Palace need to get on with it. We're in the final 45 seconds of normal time now. Van Aanholt tries to find Jeffrey Schlupp in the penalty area. Strong challenge, and that goes out off Jagielka for a throw-in to Palace, who do remain on the attack.
Sheffield United, we all talk about them going forward. They've defended really well, and they've had a good shape the whole time. They've had a really good shape.
Palace will get another chance or two with wager. Scott Dad plays it forward, too much on that though. Schlupp can't control, and it runs comfortably through to the goalkeeper, Dean Henderson. Some, not many, but some Sheffield United fans are making their way towards the exits. The greater majority are hanging on here. They don't think that this particular turkey is cooked just yet. Henderson's clearance straight out of play. It's like rugby here. Just get it down. Kick for territory. Send it down the other end.
7 minutes.
Ward jumps over the advertising hoarding to get the ball. 7 minutes have been added on. Sheffield United fans can't believe it. They thought there was only a few minutes to go. Well, that might inspire Crystal Palace's Milivojevic. Goes rather rough in on McBurney there. McBurney gets up and gives Milivojevic the sort of look that says, right, okay, next time you get the ball, I'm going to be breathing down your neck, mate. Here is Van Aanholt, halfway line. Palace 1-0 down away from home, but have now been given this lifeline of 7 minutes of additional time. Van Aanholt plays it forward towards Conor Wickham, the header down. I think that some of the shoulders just flopped a bit from Sheffield United players when they saw that 7 minutes. Like, no, not another 7 minutes. McBurney looks to control, under pressure from McCarthy. McCarthy backs into and wins the free kick. McBurney's not happy about it. Free kick to Crystal Palace, still to Morrison.
Yeah, they don't want the 7 minutes, but Palace don't look like they're going to create a chance. It's all long, hopeful balls up to Benteke and Wickham, and Sheffield United back three, the back five in particular, have been outstanding. They defended really well.
The goal that separates them came 2 minutes after half-time for John Lundstrom. Sheffield United holding on to that lead for a long time. Milivojevic takes the free kick. McCarthy tries to head it into the penalty area. Diving header away by Jagielka. Here come Palace again. Milivojevic only as far as the edge of the D. Lundstrom wins it. Freeman clears it. Anywhere will do. They bang it down the other end. Guaita comes way out of his penalty area again, playing sweeper keeper. Launches it right-footed back into the Sheffield United half. Jeffrey Schlupp tries to control the edge of the penalty area. Couldn't bring the ball with him. McCarthy's header down is to no one. Groans from the visiting fans. Baldock clears away for Sheffield United, plays it off Wickham. That will be a throw-in to the home side. They're almost there.
Football's frustrating watching it. It's so frustrating because you're thinking when you're out there you want to give more, and you look at some of the players and you're thinking, come on, there's a goal to be had here. You're walking.
Just less than 5 minutes to go. McBurney tries to control it, goes out for a throw, quick up at the Ashes, Eleanor Oldroyd.
Australia require another 255 runs with 10 wickets left, but they've only got 45 overs in which to do it. They're 12 without loss at the moment, with Bancroft on 2, Warner for 5. That was after England declared on 258 for 5. And don't forget that Stuart Broad has got David Warner out 3 times in 29 balls before this game. We've also got Jofra Archer bowling from the nursery end. Could be really fascinating for the next couple of hours.
TMS continues on 5 Live Sports Extra. Sheffield United have won themselves a corner, which has gone down very well with the natives, having absorbed a little bit of Palace pressure, probably the most sustained period of attack. No shots at the end of it or anything from Palace, but at least they were on the attack. Sheffield United now have a corner of their own. They try to waste time by the corner flag. Basham gives it out to McBurney. Hit firm from behind by Van Aanholt. Ball goes out for a Crystal Palace throw. Palace have still got about 4 minutes. Scott Dan, edge of the penalty area. Ollie Norwood is urging his teammates to push up. Don't fall back into the trap of being too deep, he thinks. This is Ward to Zaha, 10 yards inside his own half. Little nudge to try and go around into Stevens. Stevens has a nibble off him. Free kick to Palace, but it's inside their own half. It's not quite happened for Wilfried Zaha today.
I just think there's so much pressure on him, Connor. Everything, if Palace, whenever Palace are playing well, he's have to be outstanding. There's going to be days he's going to have off days.
Header by Jagielka goes straight up into the air. McBurney does the same trick. Jagielka stretches out a leg and gets it away. Anything will do at this stage. Big shot of out by Jagielka. They all run up in a line with him and get to midway inside the Sheffield United half. Greet to the Palace goalkeeper, sends it back in. Benteke jumps, O'Connell deals with him in the air. Loose ball falls for Enda Stevens, who clears it away down the left channel. Freeman goes in pursuit. Pressure on Kelly. Oh, what a back pass to the goalkeeper, and he lobbed him. And controlled by the goalkeeper, and clears away. It's all on tenterhooks now. That was a risky back pass. Baldock sees it out on the far side. Crystal Palace do have a throw in. They've got less than 3 minutes of stoppages remaining. They need to get on with it. Van Aanholt takes the throw in from almost the other side of the advertising board. Forward by Scott Dan. Wicket of the cricket, Eleanor Oldroyd.
And David Warner is the man out off the bowling of Jofra Archer. Great start for England. David Warner out for 5. 13 for 1 is the Australian score. Their target is 267 to win.
Tame shot for Crystal Palace. Jeffrey Schlupp never really got hold of it. Kicked it down into the turf. It was an easy save. And what I loved about that, Clinton Morrison, the reaction of John Egan there. He celebrated as if he'd scored a goal. The defender, he was like, yeah, we've done it. You know, we've prevented him getting a shot properly through.
Well, that's what defenders do. They like keeping clean sheets, and that's what Sheffield United look like they're going to get. So that's why he's excited. The same way strikers like scoring goals.
Time almost up. Sheffield United 1. Crystal Palace 0. There's about to be a huge roar in the Steel City. Enda Stevens wins possession on the halfway line. Played forward by Lundstrom, looking to get onto Stevens' run, but it was overstruck and it goes out. And the first evidence of a tired pass there. These Sheffield United players have given it everything today.
And the ball boys have given it everything. Every time the ball goes to them, they keep throwing it back over the advertising board. They've been told.
Kelly goes long. Controlled by Basham. Out to Baldock. Long clearance for Sheffield United up over the halfway line, looking for Ollie McBurney. Scott Dan gets it away from him. Sheffield United fans breaking into their own rendition of Annie's song. Had it before kick-off, had it before the start of the second half, as they always do here. This is Van Aanholt. Forward towards Benteke. It's not over yet. Palace coming on the attack. That's great recovery by Chris Basham. Wins the ball, turns and clears it. Standing ovation.
And Basham, Connor, that's brilliant, because Basham's as old as me, mate, and he's still out there. It's brilliant from Basham. Fair play to him. He's been excellent this afternoon.
Chris Basham, who played in the Premier League very briefly with Blackpool when they were in the top flight, I think just 2 games. Martin Kelly for Crystal Palace. Can they get one more attempt? Floats it into the penalty area. Poor ball, too far in front of Schlupp. Referee blows the final whistle. Sheffield United have won their first home game in the top flight for 12 years. They displayed such organisational skills. They took their goal with aplomb, and when they needed to dig in and defend, they were able to do that as well. A draw away from home in the opening weekend, a win at home on the second. It's 4 points from 2 games, and I think Chris Wilder's team are going to do okay in the top flight. Clinton Morrison.
I think it pains me to say it being an ex Sheffield Wednesday, but no, you have to give full credit to Sheffield United. Sheffield United will be really good. They'll do well this season, and they will stay up. They've got a lot of talented players. There's a great togetherness here with everyone and the stadium, so it's brilliant. If they play like that every week, they'll easily be comfortable.
Thanks very much to Clinton. Sheffield United celebrate. It's going to be loud around these parts tonight. It's finished Sheffield United 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Clinton Morrison. Sheffield United are a side who are all about the team. They're not about one individual, and when you look at them celebrating, that says it all, doesn't it? A perfect start for them at Bramall Lane.
There's a togetherness, as I said, and that comes from the manager, Chris Wilder. I known him because he wanted to try to sign me towards the end of my career at Northampton. He's a great manager. He's so enthusiastic, and he brings it out in his players. Listen, and the way these fans have been, it's hard for me to say, but these fans have been excellent. They've got behind their team, and they thoroughly deserved the victory. Palace weren't good enough, and Sheffield, the best team, won on the day.